Bill Self always has a very respectable program, and wow, I'm going to go with hair weave on that, Lubie. I don't know that it's a piece per se. We played piece or no piece, which is trying to figure out if the guy's wearing a hairpiece or not. Now, I was at a bar yesterday after I played tennis with my son in the morning. Wow, I mean, the people of Pompano Beach, whoever is selling the hairpieces here, is really just robbing people blind or assuming that they are blind because why not just stick a muskrat or a dead squirrel on your head? What is the point of wearing something that looks so stupid, so obvious?
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
On a beautiful Thursday morning, good morning, everybody. I'm Jeff Deforrest, along with one Michael Lubitz. We welcome you to the Defo Show, and a special edition today, of course, on Thursdays. We always conduct a version of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. We'll have Dave Gurgles Gurgley with us here in short order, and we'll have the challenge. You can dial us up if you'd like to play. The number to call, 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070, and you can play the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Also, a special guest, courtesy of Hialeah Park, and a guy who's been a dynamic force in boxing here over the last many years. I believe he got his career started, I want to say, in 2001, somewhere around there. But it goes all the way back to the night that Ed Kaplan and I at the Tamiami Fairgrounds called the U.S. debut of Luis King Kong Ortiz.
Oh, wow.
And I'll give you a trivia question. Now, Ortiz, of course, distinguished himself. 2 great fights against Deontay Wilder. He lost them both, but man, he showed you what he could do. And nobody knows exactly. I mean, it's one of those Fernando Valenzuela things with King Kong Ortiz where, he was supposedly 16 when he came to the country, but he was actually like 38. So this guy, I mean, he had grandchildren. He's in there boxing Deontay Wilder, and he had him on the ropes for a long time during that last second fight. It was really a classic. What a great boxer Luis King Kong Ortiz was for a heavyweight. Had a lot of skills. But I'll give you a trivia question here. Okay. On the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Who was it in that fabled match at the Tamiami Fairgrounds when Luis Ortiz made his U.S. debut after being he might have had one fight in the States before this, but it was either his first or second fight. Henry Revolta was the promoter. Henry's always been great with me because he I guess, respected my boxing play-by-play ability and gave me a lot of jobs over the years here locally. So Eddie and I are calling a fight. And the opponent that night was one smoking Bert Cooper. Bert Cooper, who was like in the heyday of heavyweights. I think Cooper was probably the only guy in the arena older than Ortiz at that point. But Henry always puts on a great show. He had the heavyweight explosion a couple of times at the Hard Rock, and I would imagine he's got something cooking at Hialeah Park. So we'll have Henry on, and he's also a great boxing commentator. You can discuss all matters of boxing, and you do have a huge match coming up, which Henry would have some insight into, as you have Ugass versus Errol Spence.
Oh,
I believe it's Yordanis Ugass versus Errol Spence. Errol Spence coming back from a couple of setbacks. He had that hideous car crash, and he came back, and he won his return bout, and then he was scheduled to fight Manny Pacquiao, and he had to pull out of the Pacquiao fight. Errol Spence, who a lot of people feel would be the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world today, Errol Spence Jr. He's been fantastic, and he's had a lot of thrilling matches, and always puts on a great show. Jerry Jones loves him. The fight's going to be in Texas, in Jerry Jones' fabulous stadium there, which holds like 100,000. Pacquiao's had a few fights there, and the fights have generally drawn extremely well. And, of course, Errol Spence Jr. is a Texas guy. He's from Dallas, Texas, so he'll have a huge following there. And Ugass ended up as a substitute for Errol Spence. Pacquiao still wanted to go ahead and have a fight, and so he brought in Ugass. He might have overlooked Ugass, who then smoked him and won a decision, and now I think is a 2-belt champion and is trying to unify the weight belts, the championship belts in the weight class. I'm assuming that this is 147-pound bout, welterweight bout. So Errol Spence Jr. and Ugass is coming up a week from Saturday, and nice. Henry will have some insight into that. Plus, we'll scope out the boxing scene. Triple G making a comeback. I don't know if he actually had the fight yet or it's coming up this week. Triple G at 40 is still trying to get a fight, and he's calling out Canelo Alvarez, which might be might be a bit of a futile effort, don't you think? Calling out Alvarez. Anyway, Henry's going to join us later on. Dave Hyde also about the phenomenal winter season that our sports teams are having here in South Florida. And Dave Gurgles Gurgley with the Trivia Challenge. So a lot of things happening on the program today here on Eye on Channel. Now, I wasn't sure what kind of music you were going to use in the intro here today, Mike Lubitz, because you have the Masters teeing up, and they get underway in about a little less than an hour. The first guys are going to be on the tee at 8:01 at Augusta National. And, of course, all eyes of the universe will be 10:34 Eastern Time on the tee box as Tiger Woods comes back. Will any other golfer be shown in the tournament besides Tiger Woods?
No.
Will the leader just be silhouetted, and they're still showing Tiger, even if he's like 22 over in the final round, which would be tough to do since he probably missed a cut then. But will any other golfer be shown? Will they ever show the leader of the tournament if Tiger Woods is not that leader? What do you think?
Never. No, you hit it on the head. The fact that they're talking about Tiger this much when he's, 10 years removed from his prime? I mean, how long has it been since he was like Tiger? The fact that he still matters.
He won the Masters, 3 years ago, right? 2019. Yeah.
It was thought to be done. He wins the Masters, and then he almost dies not far after that. Like, the fact that he still is the pinnacle of the only attention I've seen paid to the Masters is Tiger.
Yeah.
I
you wouldn't know there was a tournament. You would think it was the Waste Management Open or something.
Exactly.
The Pool on Weed Eater, championship somewhere in Minnesota. You would think it was, except for the fact that Tiger Woods is in the Masters, and naturally, all the attention is going to be on Tiger Woods today, and maybe rightfully so. I mean, a lot of it anyway. Tiger Woods, another remarkable return to golf after trying to. I mean, I don't know. The thing is, as great of a driver as he is on the golf course, this man should not have a license to drive. Just shouldn't.
Honestly, he's a horse.
It's not simple. I mean, how many cars can you crash in your lifetime? How many wrecks have you been in lifetime, Lubie? And maybe I'm not counting like maybe a little fender bender at a traffic light or something where you barely bumped the guy. I mean, this guy's been in what? 2 major wrecks, 3 actually, I guess, if you count that time in Palm Beach. And do you give him a pass on the Elon thing? Because he was being chased by an angry woman with a 3-wood.
I mean,
anybody could have crashed there. I mean, who saw that little fire hydrant in the rearview mirror? You're looking at an enraged woman who just discovered that you were banging Rachel Yucatel for the last 2 years.
Everything. What are you talking about? Banging anything that moved. It was like Clinton.
I don't think he was very discriminating when it came to women. That's kind of what I dig about Tiger, is that he was willing to bang that Perkins waitress in a van outside the restaurant, somewhere in some hick town in Florida, which, most towns in Florida outside of the South Florida area would be considered hick towns, would they not?
Yep.
So maybe that's very little, in terms of clarifying exactly where that took place. But it was like, it's like Loxahatchee or something. He's at a Perkins. What is Tiger Woods doing there in the first place? And then whoever served him his waffles and eggs, he said, "Hey, Susie, when was the last time you had a little roll in the hay?" Right out to the car. So you have to respect that. I mean, that is something that most men would say, all right, that's a pretty good move. But nonetheless, and the problem, I guess, was this wholesome image. And everybody was trying to convince you that Tiger Woods was the greatest human being that ever walked the face of the earth. No, he was the greatest golfer probably that ever played. Can you make that distinction? Even though Big Jack has more major championships and all of the greats were out there. I saw a little thing. I guess, is the ceremonial first shot being taken by Raymond Floyd also, the aforementioned Raymond Floyd, who we talked about in great detail on the show at the time he stiffed me for that interview. Hey, Ray, you want to say a few words? Well, you don't have time? Okay, no problem. Gave me a dirty look, too. Dirty look.
I looked it Raymond up yesterday. Floyd. It said those 3 names. It said Nicholas, Gary Player, and Tom Watson. When I looked it up. Now, I don't know what else.
Raymond Floyd is not one of them? Because
maybe I guess Jack. Class, I don't know.
I guess Jack doesn't play the par 3 anymore. That was the thing, because Raymond Floyd was teeing it up in the par 3 that took place yesterday, the little par 3 thing, which is a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, is that not a great tradition? It really is. A tradition like no other, my friend. A tradition like, I'm sounding like Jim Nance now all of a sudden. Although I'm not being paid like Jim Nance because, they're doling out money. They can't, get over themselves in terms of handing money over to play-by-play guys. And Nance can do golf, basketball, and football. That's not an easy combination. Although golf, as we said, is like the easiest sport you could possibly do play-by-play on.
The play-by-play guy doesn't do a lot. Like usually, they actually let the color analysts do more than any sport. They'll just say he sets up fourth a shot, and then the guy does the whole thing. Like
Nance is relegated to doing this, and this will be like the call. Tiger. Right? That's all you have to say, right? I mean, it doesn't matter where he is. It's just Tiger for par. Woohoo! That's worth about $8 million a year.
Announcement.
Tiger for birdie. No, it's a great sport to call. I mean, I really wish I could have made my living doing that. You don't have to get overly excited about anything. Oh, wow, look at that. I went in a hole. Okay.
Yeah, even when they make it, they're like, what a shot. And that's the whole thing. And they're done
Gus
again.
Johnson doing golf would be great. For all those people that were calling for and clamoring for Gus Johnson to do basketball. Gus Johnson doing golf would be great. Oh, we missed it.
It would stress you out.
Can you believe that? 1 inch off the hole.
It's like what?
That's like on the first hole, you got McElroy.
Actually, talking about what we talked about yesterday, that would actually be great. He'd be louder than the crowd. It'd be wonderful. Like you'd be like, what the hell?
Well, they turn the crowd into like zombies with all the rules that are in place at Augusta National. I was just reading about all the restrictions that there are on people in the crowd. You can't even pass gas. You really can't. They'll throw you right out of there and ban you for life, man. All of a sudden, you're in front of Hootie Johnson and a committee. And they're sitting there saying, no, that's it. Don't ever let this sucker back in here again. It's incredible. I don't know how Gurgles, who was a fan there, I mean, Gurgles likes to do a little heckling. Gurgles is not afraid to just go ahead and start screaming stuff out like, miss it, fatso. Right? There he is. Dave Gurgles Gurgley going to do the trivia challenge with us. Gurgles, did you get approached by security when you were touring around the Masters? Because you will go ahead and express yourself. You're not afraid to sit there and go, mow that pig down when you're at the track, even if you have no betting interest in the race.
As a matter of fact, I was at the practice round about 4 years ago, and the practice round's a little looser. So I was going down number 10, and I saw a guy playing by himself, and I yelled out, "Hey, way to go, champ!" And it was Danny Willett from England. But
nice.
On the golf course itself, when I'm doing Beat the Broadcaster, I heckle people. Yes, if I'm
You're a master
on at Miami Lakes, there's a short par 3, number 5 over water, and invariably people will get a little left of it, and because the water's on the right, and invariably I'll say, "Boy, you go any further left than that, you'll be working for Bernie Sanders next year." So we use those quite a bit.
So you didn't get thrown out of the Masters? You're allowed to go back there?
I did not. I was respectful, but I will tell you this. Talk about your walk of life. If you want to really get some exercise, you walk the Masters, because TV just shows, all the nice stuff. The hills are unbelievable. You're looking for Carl Malden and Michael Douglas from San Francisco.
That's what Jimmy was saying. Jimmy was saying for Tiger, when we kept talking about Tiger coming back, people aren't realizing that there's a lot of hills. Like for him to come back for this course, as much as he plays the course well, it's like a lot for someone who hasn't played really a lot of rounds in the last couple of years.
Well, he should be doing fine, because he's got his caddy following him around with a picture of his ex-wife with a 9-iron. So he'll be pretty quick.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be watching the Masters or the Monty Stratton story, where all of a sudden the guy is trying to come back from shooting his leg off, and he's walking around with a wooden leg, and they, everybody's very sympathetic, and he's doing okay, Stratton, and the next thing you know, the manager says, "I hate to do this, but bunt on him." Right, and then they start testing him a little bit. Well, we'll see. It's going to make for obviously it's going to be the central story and maybe the only story of this Masters tournament. But I'm not anticipating Gurgles. Would you take a flyer on Tiger Woods at 50-1 to win the Masters? Because he did state unequivocally, if I can say that, unequivocally. Somehow I had it right the first time. Shouldn't have gone for the repeat. That he's in it to win it. I mean, he would not have entered, and everybody was saying the same thing. The people that know him, Freddie Couples, was saying the same thing. Was just reading that if he didn't think he could win, there would be no way he'd just play on his home course there and tool around with the kids and a new girlfriend, and everything would be hunky dory and happy, and the whole new enlightened Tiger Woods would be having a ball. But he showed up there because he thinks he can win the tournament, which is pretty amazing.
I would not bet him. I would be more inclined to take a look. I think it's like minus 120 that he makes the cut. I would like to bet against him. I think it's like plus 110 or something like that he doesn't make the cut. I think he misses the cut.
It's interesting, the whole proposition. I mean, Couples is saying he's playing great, and nobody ever indicated. I don't know if they were shooting for a score there, or they were just like dropping mulligans to practice shots. It was a practice round, but I'm assuming he just played the thing straight up, and nobody gave any indication as to how he did. I mean, maybe he had like triple bogeys on every hole, and the whole thing is a farce set up by ESPN and CBS to generate further ratings. But the eyes of the world, especially the golf world, I don't think is alone in having their eyes riveted on Tiger Woods later on today. So we'll have the trivia challenge coming up. And it's also, I thought Lubie was going to go with a little Masters music, so I could start with my Hello Friends.
Ooh.
And then it's opening day in Major League Baseball. A couple of games postponed, including the Yankees-Red Sox already. Wow. And the Metsies are going to give it a go, although they've already had their share of problems with DeGrom going down. And for how long, who knows? And then Max Scherzer unable to start on opening day, but supposedly might be able to go tomorrow. So the best laid plans of mice and Mets usually go awry. And that's what might be happening today, although the Mets will be in action. I sold a lot of these in my time. Met bobblehead dolls. They were only $1. They weren't as nice as this one. This one was put together, I guess, probably by some bank or something. But this is a pretty solid bobblehead, much more solid than the ones that I used to sell. And we used to get out of the area after we sold them. They came in a box, and a little box, and we would send the box down the aisle and then run because there wasn't a single one that you open up where the head wasn't cracked or where the spring wasn't broken. These are the most cheaply made souvenirs. I forget what part of China they came from, but it obviously wasn't one where the workers were particularly dedicated to their craft, because every single one of them was busted up before you took it out of the box. But any thoughts on opening day? Your Philadelphia Phillies are primed once again, Dave Gurgles Gurgley, to see if they can make some kind of a run at it, and yet the National League East is, looking like one of the more difficult divisions to take, maybe rivaled only by the American League East, which everybody's all over the Toronto Blue Jays this year. So I'm inclined, can I still get down? I guess I can before the season starts. We have till later on today to bet against the Blue Jays to win anything this year, because they never do.
Pretty much.
I would take a shot at the underachieving San Diego Padres from last year. They were a team everybody picked to win. I mean, the Dodgers are loaded, no doubt about it. They look like the Yankees of the West with trying to buy things. But I would take a shot at the underachieving Padres. But I'll keep an eye on my Phillies and and the local team, the Marlins. I'm a big baseball fan. I love opening day. Ed Kaplan probably being the biggest one that we know. Or your
no
Mr.
doubt,
Met.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, my friend Ira Dornstein, he's got to be salivating today. His whole life has come back together. I mean, he sleeps the 6 months of the off season, and then comes right back to life, which is a good thing, because he's about 90 years old and he's still like entrenched in Met minutia. I mean, he called me the other day. It's one of those things that, do you have some friends where you know what they're going to talk about and you really don't feel like discussing it, so you don't even answer the phone?
Yes.
Right? Or you're just saying, yeah. And then, he runs something by you that the answer should be a definitive no to, and you go, yeah. It's like, no, you're not thinking about killing yourself, are you? No, I really am not.
I think Paul, our colleague Paulie, has a lot of friends like that. That when they call, he knows exactly what they're going to talk about,
and he doesn't want to pick up.
He's vowed to return. No,
I spoke to Paul. I spoke to him this week because I was at a local pari-mutuel, Gulfstream as well, and they had betting on Magic City Highlight on the mutual machine.
Get out of here.
Now, I was asking Paulie for some info and everything like that, and he just didn't offer much as far as that goes. But I think his Derby horse ran second in the Arkansas Derby. Barber Road is who he likes, he told me.
Yes, he told me I was in on a small proposition wager, futures bet. On what was the name of the horse again?
Barber Road.
Barber Road, yeah. He told me he had big money on this horse, like a nickel.
And my horse is in Saturday at Keeneland. The horse that I got my picture taken with at Tampa, McAllen, is in Saturday at Keeneland.
Nice.
It opens tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
And that's a Derby contender, McAllen?
No, that's a horse that I snuck in the winner's circle at Tampa Bay and picture taken with.
That was great.
All right. How are the questions today? How would you rate the questions? Degree of difficulty,
I would say pretty good. I've got mostly opening day, I've got some Florida Panther questions. I went to the Toronto game
Oh, you
Tuesday
did?
night.
Wow,
The
that was a
Panthers.
great game. Did you stay all the way?
Oh, you bet. And with a couple buddies of mine from the golf course, and then next to me was this beautiful lady and either a boyfriend or friend, and she couldn't stop talking sports. So hello to Maggie out there if she's listening.
Nice.
And this was she knows her sports. She's a Dolphin season ticket holder, and there was probably 35% Maple Leaf fans there as well. It was a barnstorming game. Wow,
Fantastic.
This team doesn't quit.
Nah.
Well, most of the South Florida fans, the MO would have been when they were down 4 goals, down 5-1. Everybody would have headed for the exits there. They would have been at Landlubbers, where we're giving away a gift certificate right down the street, or some other watering hole nearby. But this team always comes back and has had that MO all season long. But I did notice that, Gurgles, and we were commenting on that yesterday. So you verified what our thoughts were, and maybe, I mean, it's not really a fear because we know it's typical of South Florida. That the Maple Leafs, when they scored that game-tying goal, the place went nuts. There should have been dead silence in there, no? I mean, they should have been shushing people. And sure enough, people were going bananas. And I thought, wow, seems like there are more Toronto fans in the building than Panther fans, even though they're having this incredible season.
Well, I was able to bring out some of my best heckling there. There was 3 rows of Maple Leafs fans in front of me, and they kept on yelling, "Go, Leafs, go!" And, of course, I yelled out, "And take the Raptors and Blue Jays with you." So they didn't like that.
And all the people from Montreal, just go north. Get out of here. All right, Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge coming up. Of course, Dave Gurgles Gurgley going to conduct the questioning. You can dial us up, jump on board right now. We have the one-line system working here, so you got to kind of tread carefully. 954-417-0070. It's Andy's birthday today, so I'm hoping he's the first guy in there. And he made it. The underplayer's a little bit upset. Most people gave him no shot of making 65.
They were trying hard to get rid of him.
Oh my God, he was going to come to Vegas for the birthday party, Gurgles, and he had to scratch at the gate, literally at like gate 9 at the Fort Lauderdale Airport, gate G9. He had to scratch right there because all of a sudden his heart started going aflutter, and it wasn't because he was thinking about how wonderful it was going to be with me and you. Thing just went out of whack, man. I mean, the timer just went off. I mean, the Polyman had some of those issues a long time ago also where, they had like a buzzer in there or something. I don't know what it was that was going to trigger his heartbeat. And it went, into some kind of slow motion. And the next thing you know, there was the Polyman like laid out on the floor and in need of revival from Dave Gurgles Gurgley in the hospital, which that was your biggest save. I mean, Nolan Ryan and, all of the great pitchers, not Nolan Ryan, but any reliever that Mariano Rivera could have like 8 zillion saves. That save was a big one. Dave Gurgles Gurgley, 1 save, and it was a beauty. All right, Dave's got the trivia challenge coming up. Dial us up, 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. You'll be on Ion Channel, a chance to be a champion on Ion Channel. One thing that's always great, and we always champion the cause of, is Hialeah Park. And there's always something exciting going on there. Now, you know what I'm thinking? Maybe we should have a little outing down at Hialeah for either the Derby or the Preakness, one of the Triple Crown races, because it was such a blast being down there for the Triple Crown races. And anytime there's a big horse racing event, it is the place to be. And any day of the week, just a dynamite place to go and bet the ponies.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, with Keeneland opening Friday, Aqueduct's allegedly trying to go on the turf. What a great place to go. It's you walk in there and you look and you say, wow, this place is terrific. I remember it from the 70s when I went there and the 80s, and they kept that tradition up where you can still see the flamingos. You walk inside, it's totally modern. 60-inch TVs, probably 40 of them across the bank. And like you say, I like my own private little carousel. Or if you feel a little jovial, you go over to the bar and they'll be screaming and yelling and buying $3.50 beers and $2 sandwiches. You can't beat it. Hialeah Park is it keeps the tradition of the old, but it's moved up technologically to the new, and it's a terrific place to go and bet.
Yeah, and you got the casino there. Maybe you're not hitting the ponies too well. You venture over to the casino, or maybe you're red hot at the ponies and you're figuring I can't lose today. You might run into Steve Calabro, the casino manager, and he's always got that giant smile on his face because he's giving money away in a casino. The machines that are there are there to pay off, and that's they want you to have a good time at Hialeah Park. Great poker room, all kinds of entertainment, and Frankie's got something cooking. I can sense it. So keep in touch with HialeahPark.com, their website, and you'll find out all of the events that are going on. They have the complete calendar and all the different things that they have that are happening in terms of promotions, which are always great if you have a player's card. It gives you all kinds of entitlements, freebies, and amenities that really are unparalleled anywhere in the gaming industry. Beautiful Hialeah Park, great place to go. All right, we're going to come back with the game, and Dave Gurgles Gurgley here on Ion Channel, Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz, Dave Gurgles Gurgley, and the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Jump on board at 954-417-0070. Later, a little El Boxeo, some boxing talk with Henry Rivalta, very knowledgeable and, astute follower of the game, very much immersed in the business of boxing as well. And Dave Hyde, a columnist for the Sun Sentinel, on all the fabulous things happening here in South Florida and around the sports landscape, including, I would imagine, I don't know, wouldn't they have dispatched a columnist to cover this Tiger Woods thing? Mike Lubitz back in the day?
Someone will be there. Someone will be there for sure. Like even
didn't the late great Edwin Pope covered it like 40 years in a row or something like that, didn't he?
He was at every Super Bowl. He was at every Masters. He was at every Wimbledon. I mean, this guy lived a pretty good life as a sports reporter, the great Eddie Pope. A good guy, too. Always was a very good guy, a real gentleman, real Southern gentleman. Kentucky, I think, was his origins. And he loved horse racing also. He probably went to every derby.
He did.
All right, coming back with more. And the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge in a moment. 954-417-0070. Lubie. I'm Jeff Deforrest. That's Dave Gurgles Gurgley. Back in a moment here on Ion Channel. Now that.
The time.
7:27. Poker is your game. You're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
You can't fake caring. Women can sense this immediately. You don't really care. You didn't really want to do any of this.
We now return to the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz, and Dave Gurgles Gurgley. The Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge about to get underway. And we do have to add in a very congratulatory and special note. Albert Castilla, who provided the customized music for the show, and you hear a lot of different riffs from Albert during the course of the show. We have certain musical restrictions. So the guy goes out and he uses some studio time to record a special track for us. All right. Yep. And this is quite a distinction. Of course, when we got to the studio and we asked for a copy of the recording that he made, they said, well, are you going to pay for the 2 hours of studio time that he used? He left that detail out, that there was like $1,000 fee for this thing. But nonetheless, he is #1 on the Billboard blues rock chart right now. Debuted a new album, and his latest CD was released a few weeks ago, and it is #1. Andy pointed that out to me, and I've seen that posted in other places. #1 on the Billboard chart. So we have the top musician in the category customizing music for this show. And Jack thinks that we just pull this out of our ass every day. Just unbelievable.
We do.
Oh, we pretty much do, Jack. I mean,
enjoy it.
You know us better than that by now, yeah. All right, and I thought you might play a little, you say it's your birthday, but we have certain restrictions on that.
I don't have everything here.
Can't work that in. We didn't have the Masters music there, so we couldn't do our usual.
Play the Masters.
A tradition like no other. But we do have a player, and so we're going to toss out our first question here, and it will be a special celebrated birthday edition here of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge once we get going with the game. So, Dave, go ahead and start the proceedings.
All right, of course, we'll start traditionally easy baseball. This Dodger player asked if he had any pregame prayer rituals, said, yes. First, I pray to God that nobody hits the ball to me, and then I pray that nobody hits the ball to Steve Sachs. What's that? Pedro Guerrera, Pancho Herrera, Pancho Villa, or Bob Villa?
All right, we're going to roll the Renophone Scrambler. Should we do it ourselves? We're going to have to improvise. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Andy Man. Happy birthday to you. Andy, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning and happy birthday, my friend. You made it. The underplayers definitely being carried out in the very same body bags they had figured that you would be in. And here you are, like Gary Player, ready to do 1,000 push-ups. Andy, welcome to the show. Hello.
Thanks. You know, I got a text from my daughter at midnight. She goes, Dad, happy birthday. I love you. Can I borrow 2 dimes? I bet the under.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
When your own kids are taking the under, that's not a positive sign. But
I love your hair, but shit.
Wow.
All right. Well, you have 1 point, and nothing would make us happier than to reward you on your birthday with a Landlubber's gift certificate, which is highly coveted as a prize here. And then, of course, you go on the Wall of Fame there, Jack's Studio, which you saw how elaborate Jack's Studio is, Gurgles. You were down there for those green screen shows we did. And, when you're on that Wall of Fame, you're up there with some illustrious company. So you have 1 point, going for 2.
All right, Andy, golf, true or false? Believe it or not, Jim Nance, the legendary golf broadcaster, especially at the Masters, once received a warning from an Augusta official to stop running as he was heading out to his first ever broadcast rehearsal on hole number 16. True or false?
I see that's true.
I'm going to say true.
Nice.
It is true, yeah. He was told not to be late for rehearsal. He ran out there, and they said, we don't run here at Augusta. So you got it.
They have a no running rule. You get thrown out. And what's great about Augusta, there are no second chances. This is not the National Football League. You cross the barriers of any of their guidelines, boom, you're barred for life. You may as well be watching the tournament somewhere in a sports bar with Martha Burke. You're not getting back on the ground. All right, 2 for 2, Andy. Good scope there, and going for 5.
Baseball, Andy, opening day. Which player holds the record for most times being hit by a pitch in opening day games? Getting plunked 3 times in an opening day game. What's that? Glenn Davis, Don Baylor, Ron Hunt, or Richie Hebner?
Wow.
Is it lifetime or in one game?
No, in one game, in an opening day game.
I go with Baylor.
That's what
It's a
I already
logical one,
said.
but it
Ron
was
Hunt?
Glenn Davis. Glenn Davis from Houston.
Glenn Davis.
Wow.
Yep.
You know, it's a great, thing about our good friend Tommy Hutton. Can you imagine the guy had 1,500 major league at bats, was never hit by a pitch?
Well, that's crazy.
Wow.
The human Gumby, man. I mean, it's almost impossible, right? I guess I don't know. You
Right.
could also say that maybe nobody felt the need to throw at him. No, he did fine, Tommy. He was a great player. All right,
He
going
played
for
good.
7
Yeah,
points.
I remember him as a Philly.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, 5-pointer. Who is the only player in Masters history to never have missed a cut in the 20th century?
Wow.
20th century. Is that Jack Nicklaus, Greg Norman, Freddie Couples, or Tom Watson?
I go with my mother's favorite, Tom Watson.
Watson.
No, Freddie Couples. Freddie Couples never missed a cut
Freddie.
in the 20th century.
Well, happy
Very
birthday.
nice.
Happy birthday,
All right,
brother.
happy birthday, Andy. I mean, way to go. He did it. He crossed into new territory, right? I mean, 65, is that when you start? It's 66 when you start getting the decent Social Security check, right?
Yes, if you wait
Right.
till then, yes.
It does ease
He
a
might
little
be
bit of the pain.
66 and a half. He's probably 66 and a half now. Yep.
No, 60, 65, I think he hit today. 65. All right, dial us up if you want to play. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. Andy, without a total worthy of being in the finals, doesn't necessarily eliminate him from the competition, and that's one of the great things about the game. I mean, it's kind of like this NBA East coming right down to the finish line, and you really don't have any idea exactly how they're going to line up, except that we know that now, all of a sudden, the number one seed is not nearly as highly coveted because nobody wants to face the Brooklyn Nets if they get it rolling. And they were playing the Knicks last night. Knicks are up 21, Dave Gergely, 21 points. And they blow that lead, and then they go back and forth for a while in the fourth quarter. And eventually, I don't know. I mean, guys that had, I would imagine, what were the Nets slight favorites last night on the Knicks homewood? Nets slight favorites, you would think, over the Knicks, who were kind of out of it. Yeah. Anyway, you were getting probably a couple of points with the Knicks, and they're in this game. They're up 21. You're probably cruising over to some restaurant ready to buy for everybody. And they end up losing the game by like 12 points in the end. They were back and forth on like a 2-point margin. They were swinging back and forth, a lot of lead changes throughout the middle portion of the fourth quarter. They end up losing by 12 points. I mean, what kind of a cave job is that? So yeah, I mean, gambling, always taking the points into consideration. Still, some very treacherous turf. All right, one thing, if you did hit this bet, you might want to line up a cigar, Dave Gergely, and there's no better place to get one than from the good people at Perdomo Cigars.
Yeah, last week at the Florida Derby, I was fortunate enough to be in the South Beach section where Kyle hangs out sometime, and they got us in on some horseman passes, and was all you could drink beer and wine, a free barbecue with brisket and ribs and everything like that. And of course, I made the day. I brought a nice Perdomo cigar, and everybody said, I like the ribs, I like the brisket, but I love a Perdomo cigar. Well,
nice.
You don't have to be at Gulfstream, or you don't have to see me. You can go right there yourself, 5150 Northwest 167th Street, right off the Palmetto, 305-627-6700, the number to call. I was just there yesterday picking up our order for the right here at Miami Lakes Golf Club. We sell the Champagne La Tradicion. We sell the Churchill's. I bought it yesterday. We got Robustos. They make them perfect one at a time. I took a Grand Cru to somebody out there. That's one of their cigars. I'm a Lot 23 guy. Whatever it is. Maduro wrapper, Connecticut wrapper. They make them perfect one at a time. Go see them today. 305-627-6700 if you want to call, or 5150 Northwest 167th Street if you want to visit them in person. Or if it's this weekend, since they're a family business, they're closed Saturday and Sunday, not a problem. Any tobacconist worth their tobacco will have Perdomo cigars. Go online, www.perdomocigars.com. And I may light one up Saturday after my horse McAllen wins his second race, probably, or it's actually third career race, probably an allowance race at Keeneland this Saturday. Look for McAllen. He'd be my Perdomo horse of the day. And you don't need a horse to smoke a great cigar from Perdomo.
Trying to figure out if the Churchill, and maybe you can run this by Nick Perdomo or one of the people there at Perdomo Cigars. Was the Churchill named for Winston or the Downs?
Yes, Winston. It was named for Winston.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Because he was a big cigar guy, but you do see a lot of cigars and smell a lot of cigar smoke when you're at Churchill Downs. So whether it's the Derby or, a Wednesday afternoon card in the mud with some cheap claimers going, but Perdomo Cigars, I would imagine, had a lot of cigar smoking done in Kentucky, right? They love lighting them up there. Keeneland, it's all over the place. Yeah.
The Perdomo back wheel was named for Churchill Downs, probably when you were there with Leslie Visser.
She back-wheeled her way into Rick Pitino's box, and the next thing you know, she was meeting the man of her dreams, the Duke, and they got married shortly thereafter. I still remember her saying, well, I don't know if I'm going back with you guys. I may have a ride back on a private jet.
Wow.
So visceral.
Far be it from us to try and interfere, and intervene in that one there. But obviously that would be a pretty enchanting offer to, take somebody up on. All right. Ready for our next player. And Dave Gergely, so far, Andy, with a 0.0. He had 2 points. So, it wasn't like he was totally shut out. And nobody, that's the beauty of this game. Nobody gets blanked. So, Dave Gergely, our next set of questions.
All right. Even though it's off season, it's never off season for the NFL. Football, this legendary NFL coach on the Keys to Success said, a good coach needs a patient wife, a loyal dog, and a great quarterback. but not necessarily in that order. Was that? You never expected from this guy. Was that Bud Grant, Bud Harrelson, Woody Harrelson, yes, or Woody Woodbury of Fort Lauderdale fame?
I would have said Lou Grant before Bud Grant, coming out with a quip like that. All right, here's the random phone scrambler to select our first player, our next player. Look at that, Ron, man. Ron got through today. Excellent, Ron. How are you, my friend?
Good, fellas. How you doing? Let's go with A.
Good morning, Mr.
A is correct.
Yeah, boy, Ron.
Again, another. How many consecutive correct answers is that to the first question on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge?
Millions.
Pretty many. We've had some guys would say B automatically. Yeah.
I mean, it's Ripken-esque, the number of people that have gotten that question correct in succession. All right, one going for two.
All right, Ron, golf. True or false? According to Adam Scott, last year's Masters dinner, or served by the previous winner, was the worst one he'd ever had. Or this year, I beg your pardon, this one with Hideki Matsui's was the worst Masters dinner ever served, according to Adam Scott. True or false?
Let's go false.
It is false. According to Adam Scott, Bubba Watson served the worst Masters dinner ever. Traditional Caesar salad, grilled chicken, green beans, mashed potatoes, corn, mac and cheese with cornbread, and confetti cake with vanilla ice cream. Worst Masters dinner ever.
You have to be careful what you say about these things. I mean, look at Fuzzy Zeller, man. The guy was crucified for years. Great guy. I mean, one of the most gregarious, nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Really good guy.
Did you play with him and Jim Dunn in that seniors event?
No, when I played with Jim Dunn, we played with Lee. He won a couple opens. It'll come to me, but we won at that Pro-Am one. But Fuzzy Zeller, believe it or not, do you remember what Tiger's first Masters dinner served was? After his victory in '97. It
was like fried chicken or something, right?
No. It was cheeseburgers, hot dogs, and milkshakes and French fries. He was like 19 years old. He served just a fast food dinner. Yep.
So what was the one?
Lee Jansen.
It was like collard greens or something that Fuzzy said something.
No,
about,
that's what Fuzzy said he was going to serve. Yeah.
Like whatever those people eat. Yeah, yeah. That was one of the first political correctness.
Wow.
Woke society's takedowns, and Fuzzy crucified for that for years. And what people forgot, sometimes it's kind of like that Chris Rock, Will Smith thing. I mean, the guy's in the business of making jokes, so maybe once in a while, he says one. Maybe he even wants to take it back as soon as he says it. But you can't, just forget about what a great guy the guy was his whole life just because he makes one misstatement. I guess you would say. I'm sure he meant nothing by it. But anyway, I let Fuzzy off the hook. Jim Dunn was good friends with Fuzzy. He had a great vodka.
Yes, he was.
Did you ever get a bottle of that vodka? Did you remember that where it had like I don't know what you call it, where they had like a scene inside the bottle of the Masters actually.
No, but the funny story is when we were at the senior event there, and Jim Dunn got us seats in a hospitality tent behind hole number 18. It was a par 5. Fuzzy Zeller's putting for 3. I might have had a couple of pops, so he's putting for eagle. So I yell out from the hospitality tent, "Hey, Fuzzy, you make the eagle. Vodka for everybody, huh?" He misses it. He yells back to me, "Hey, kid, looks like I'm drinking on my own." So it was quite a day.
All right, we still have Ron with us. 3-point question here. A little diversion there into the Fuzzy Zeller story.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, Ron, 3-point question coming up. Here we go.
8 is the magic number because there's been a few players that have 8 career opening day home runs, but only one of them has 8 career opening day home runs with just 1 home run in each of those 8 games. If you follow me, 8 career, some had multiple home runs. Who was that player? Was it Ken Griffey Jr., Adam Dunn, Joe Torre, or Frank Robinson? So which of those had 8 opening day home runs, but in 8 different opening days?
It's 8 consecutive.
Let's go. Ken Griffey Jr.
I'm going to go Jim Dunn's cousin, Adam Dunn. Oh, Frank Robinson.
No, Frank Robinson. Yeah, Frank Robinson. 8 different opening days he hit home runs.
Wow, excellent question there. All right, 5-point question coming up.
Take the lead.
All right, here we go. Back to the Masters. Who holds the record for the most birdies in a single Masters with 28 birdies during his 4 rounds? Was that Tiger Woods, Jordan Spieth, Larry Mize, or Phil Mickelson?
Premature.
Lubie's already got you answering incorrectly.
Premature.
So,
Let me go Jordan Spieth.
Spieth. Yes.
That's correct. Take
Ron,
back
you
that
were
buzzer. There you go. Well
Nice
done.
job there, Lubie. All right, Ron. Good job.
2015.
Comes up with 6 points. He got the Matsuyama question wrong, right? The true-false question.
He got
No,
it
he
right.
got it correct.
You got it
He
right? Okay,
correct.
7
He's got
points for Ron.
7.
Ron's
got
in the lead
7.
with 7. Andy has been our other contestant so far. We'll try and squeeze in a few more if we can before we go to the finals. You can dial us up at 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. It's the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Don't forget about beautiful Hialeah Park. Always a great place to go. Can't emphasize this enough, especially Triple Crown races coming up. You have a lot of big stuff happening over the weekend. Great place to watch even sporting events, right? Because they have all of that
Right.
available to you all over the place, too. I remember I was in one of these poker tournaments they had, a charity poker tournament I was invited to. And, it was a big night of sports. And I'm thinking, well, geez, I wouldn't mind seeing some of these games. And then there it was. I mean, just a beautifully appointed block of screens there. And as you said, this isn't something that you would have expected to see, walking in there in like 1958. Very modern touch that they had to the way they have applied all of their entertainment at Hialeah Park. And it was great. I'm playing poker there. I'm bluffing a couple of guys out and watching all the games on TV. It's a great poker room, perfectly appointed, as is the Champions Simulcasting room. And, of course, the slots are hot at Hialeah Park. Steve Calabro wouldn't have it any other way. Great entertainment all the time. All kinds of good stuff coming up. And I'm thinking maybe even a little sporting theme on the horizon, as we're going to talk to Henry Rivalta, boxing promoter, who, he and Frankie are a dynamite team. They start cooking up an entertainment event. So hoping that something's cooking there at Hialeah Park. And, check the calendar of events because they'll surprise you with some really, really special stuff, whether it's concerts, sports, all kinds of things that are happening there. Great place to go, great entertainment facility, and that's what you're looking for, a little bit of entertainment. Get a player's card when you come through the door. You're going to love that. It gives you all kinds of entitlements, as we say, and a lot of benefits that aren't available are really incomparable compared to other gaming institutions. And people are getting more and more liberal, but Hialeah Park is generous as they come in that regard. It's a great place to go, always a great entertainment facility. Make your plans to be at beautiful Hialeah Park, and on the weekends they're open till 5 a.m., weekdays 3 a.m. They open up at 9 every morning. Great place to go, beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, we'll come back and finish off this edition of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Henry Rivalta, though, is going to join us. We'll talk a little boxing in the second hour of the program. And Dave Hyde, extraordinary local columnist. I guess it's either he or would it be he or him or Greg Cody that are the senior columnists here in town now. You mentioned the great Eddie Pope. I think Hyde broke in when Pope was like a rookie.
Yep.
It's been around a long, long time. So we'll be talking to him about all of the good stuff. I mean, we have this bet with Mike Mayo where Mayo, in like a moment of just pure criminal insanity, decided that the Panthers would not win a single playoff series this year and continue their trend of futility in that regard. Wow. And he was willing to bet a dinner at Anthony's Runway 84. He pays for Lubie and me if he loses. We were inviting other people on his ticket, but then he immediately hired an attorney. He had like Roy Black call me. Right? And I'm thinking, why is Roy Black calling me, the famous criminal attorney? I thought, that jackpot ended a long time ago. Right? Are there, is there no double jeopardy standard to be applied here? And sure enough, he was giving me like a cease and desist on inviting people to the Mayo dinner.
We invited like
hired an attorney, Mayo. Can you believe it? Because we were inviting everybody. So, Gurgles, you're welcome to come. It's going to be separate checks, but you're welcome to come, man. Maybe I'll buy you some of the mussels. Oh, all right.
By the way, if you have when you have Dave Hyde on, he wrote one of the most famous articles that I ever read, and I was spellbounding, and that was Finding Jake Scott.
Oh, yeah.
What a terrific, unbelievable article that was. So
yeah. He's had a few classics, but that I think he would tell you was one of his greatest experiences because it was just so weird. It was like Martin Sheen trying to find Colonel Kurtz. You know, only without the evil implied, but just as strange where he rolls out to some grass hut in the middle of the ocean there, and you know, you had to go through all kinds of things like, what do you want to find Jake for? Huh? He's not around.
Yeah.
I will come right back and finish off the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge portion of the program here, but we'll always have Hialeah Park in mind. We'll try and play another player and maybe get to the finals in the next few minutes. And back with that in a moment on the Defo Show. Now that.
The time.
7:50.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views. It's simply the hot spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can more business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
It really is something when you think back that you tracked a guy down on foot who had stolen your car. It's almost impossible to conceive of.
It wasn't smart. I was talking to one of my nephews, telling him yesterday the story, and he gets a look on his face. I'm like, don't do it. If your car's stolen, but you did it, and I'm an idiot. You don't want to be an idiot like me. Don't ever do that.
I kiss it goodbye, man.
Yes, that's what you're supposed to do.
It's not like it's family. I mean, you're talking about a Hyundai, for God's sake. You could have gone down to Deal Volkswagen and got yourself a Tiguan with the money insurance company.
It's true.
I would have been saying sayonara.
The Greek's like, oh, so you got a new car? I'm like, no. What's wrong with you?
Even if they dumped it in the Publix parking lot around the corner from your house, I would have denied that was my car. Oh, no, that ain't it. Good to be with you here. 9:40 wins, 12:30 the zone. Sports talk at its finest. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz.
The morning just isn't right without Defo. We now return to the Defo Show.
Opening day, Gurgles. Opening day. Very exciting. Should I try it? I don't know if I can remember all of the words anymore, and that's kind of sad because it's like forgetting the words to a simple nursery rhyme. Meet the Mets, come on out and greet the Mets. Bring the kiddies, bring the wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the Mets are really socking the ball. Lubie, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side. Everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York Town. What'd you think?
There you go. Look at you.
You know, there's a second verse to that. I mean, it's like a brutal second verse. Like it's not like Bob Dylan wrote the song, you know. So the second verse is like even more fascinating than the first. The second verse is like total BS. I mean, just yeah.
Like the butcher.
Jane Jarvis refused to play it on the organ. She only played the one verse, and then it was like even on the organ, on a what was it? A Thomas organ, I believe. That was a true false trivia question. I think at one time was it a Thomas or a Hammond B3? It was a Thomas. Right. But she was an accomplished musician, Jane Jarvis. I mean, she was like a serious musician also. This was just her side job there, and it turned out to be the thing that brought her fame, much like, you know, the polymath on the Trivia Challenge. All right, we're going to get in another player and then go to the finals, all right? How about that? Does that sound fair, Dave Gergely? Are you ready to go? Let's fire up the next question. Yes. Your Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge.
All right, first day of the Masters, golf. This comedian on his investment experiences said, you know, the other day, my stockbroker, who's a golf nut, called me and he said, guess what? I just broke 80. And I said to him, I know, I'm one of them. Was it the great Joey Lois, Joey Brown, Joey Gallo, or Ernest and Julie Gallo?
Rolling a scrambler, Mike Lubie, Lubitz. classic. Lenny the Chronic. It lands on Lenny
All
the
right.
Chronic.
Good morning.
Chronic, how are you, my friend?
Good morning, Mr. Cronk.
I'm good. How's
Morning,
everybody?
Lenny.
Fantastic, sir.
Good
Well,
morning.
we're all beautiful, man.
I was thinking me, Andy, and Ron call every week. We're like the guys from Hollywood Squares that were always
Yeah.
Charles Weaver and Jonathan Winters.
Honestly.
I was among
right.
Gergo's favorite shows.
And here you go, Lenny. I'll buy you dinner at Landlubbers with one of your certificates if you can tell me who was the first ever. Who was the first ever center square on Hollywood Squares? The very first year.
Oh,
First one.
I don't know. I'll go
You're right,
with
you don't.
Charlie Cox.
You mean Wally Cox?
I don't even know either.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
They're both wrong. They're both wrong. Believe it or not, it was Ernest Borgnine was
Wow.
the first ever center
Really?
square.
Ernest
That's,
Borgnine.
that's a good one there.
That is
Yep.
a great one, yeah.
Martin.
All right, you have one going for two here,
Got
Lenny.
one there.
All right, Lenny, baseball, true or false? Believe it or not, Bill Veeck, the famous entrepreneur in baseball, in his book, Veeck as in wreck, the first chapter is entitled A Can of Beer, A Slice of Cake, and Thou, Eddie Goodell. True or false?
Sure, why not? True.
That is true.
That is true.
Good one.
Eddie Goodell, the famous midget. What number did Eddie wear? What number did he wear, Lenny?
You got me.
That's
1-8.
right. Not one
think it was
quarter,
a hook.
1/8.
An eighth. Okay.
1/8. Yeah, we got him on that last year.
Yeah, when you weren't here.
I did.
All right,
I
two
did.
going for five here, Lenny. You're relying for the sweep, and you could move right into second place if you get this one right.
All right, Lenny, just this past week, we lost another great player, Tommy Davis. He won 2 batting titles with the Dodgers, but he played for 10 different teams during his career. And he played for 2 teams on 2 different occasions. The Oakland A's and
Ooh.
the aforementioned Dodgers, the White Sox, the Cubs, or the Astros. So which one of those did he play for on 2 different occasions?
Let's go for the Dodgers.
I would have said that too, but we both would have been wrong. The Cubs played for the Cubs in 70 and 72. Yep.
All right, yeah, another good one checked out, man. Very steady ball player, Tommy Davis. Didn't he hit like 356 or something that one year with the Dodgers?
Yeah,
when
he
won the
hit a
batting
great
title?
amount. Yep.
It was amazing.
Played
It was
for
Tommy
the
Davis and
Orioles,
Willie
he played
Davis.
for the-
Now, were they related,
Yep.
Tommy Davis and Willie Davis, or
No.
not? No.
Willie
Okay.
Davis is the one that had 3 errors in 1 inning, I think, for the Dodgers in a World Series. Yep.
Fast as lightning, though, Willie Davis, when he got on base, number 3, man. And what were they related to Sammy Davis? How about Sam F. Davis? The guy.
What about Eric Davis?
I
You're
was
winning
thinking
every-
Betty
Just throw everybody names. Betty Davis.
I was thinking Betty Davis. Yeah, they had.
That's
her
unlikely.
eyes.
Betty Davis, I would have to say. Very
All right.
unlikely. All right, 5-point question, Lenny.
5-point question, Lenny. Only 3 people in Masters history have won back-to-back Masters championships. Which of the following did
Not.
did not win the Masters in back-to-back years?
Not.
Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, Nick Faldo.
Jesus.
Go with Arnold Palmer.
Arnie.
That's right.
Correct. All right.
Arnold won it in every even year, 58, 60, 62, 64, but not back-to-back.
All right, very good. Lenny, stay
Well
right
done,
there,
Lenny.
and we're going to match you up against Ron. All right, are we about ready to go there? One more word about Perdomo Cigars while Lubie sets that up there.
Yes, sir. 305-627-6700, the number to call. Or you can just reach in your desk drawer and pull out a great
Oh, I like the
Perdomo
props.
cigar.
Yeah, very good.
I'll have one a little later. 5150 Northwest 167th Street, the place to go. I went there yesterday. You can go there. Real easy to find. Right off the Palmetto on the south side, a little east of Home Depot, between 47th and 57th Avenue. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Any tobacco shop will have Perdomo cigars that are worth their salt. You can take your choice, Maduro, Connecticut wrapper. Whether you want a Churchill or a small or a Robusto, any design, any kind, and make them perfect one at a time. This Saturday at Lexington, that opens tomorrow, and you can bet it at Hialeah Park, Lexington at Keeneland, which you've been to many times. You can see my horse McAllen running, and that'll be my Perdomo horse this Saturday at Keeneland. But you don't need a horse. You don't need a reason. All you need is a great cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
Mayo says he has a just cinch lock of the century in the first race to be run at Keeneland. 4.5 furlong job, 2-year-olds. Wesley Ward, the king of the 2-year-olds. This horse will probably be 3 to 5, but nonetheless, Mayo says it's a good thing. The 7-ball in the first race on the Friday Keeneland card, which I intend to be punching on at with both fists after 2 successful trips to Atlantic City. We made it out of there with money. Stang did it again.
That's what I was going to ask you. I haven't heard about your Atlantic City trip. You did okay.
Well, I got crushed on Saturday. I held my own on Sunday, but it was too little too late. But it didn't matter because within seconds after our arrival, Stang hit another slot machine for 3,000 and 3 dimes. And so that she kind of flittered some of that away. I would say most of it. No, she came home a winner, and I came home a loser. But cumulatively, we were okay. So
nice.
So, but the contest we had no chance in. I mean, we thought we had like a big shot in there. There were only going to be a few entries. One lady had 33 jackpots she had hit. And Mustang said, "Wow, I mean, how much money did you win?" She said, "Win? It cost me a fortune to get these." I'm like, well, maybe you ought to call Gamblers Anonymous instead of come down here and try and win the 750 in free play or whatever they were giving away every 5 minutes. All right, ready for the finals here. Gurgle's going to toss out a question. Guys, good luck. Ron and the Chronic going to go toe-to-toe. Call out your name if you want to answer right away. Nobody answers right away. We offer multiple choice. First person to call out his name gets first choice, back and forth till we have a winner. That's how the game works. Here's Gurgles.
Good luck, guys. Back to opening day baseball. What pitcher holds the record for opening day wins without a loss at 7?
Wow.
And he did the minimum 7 starts.
What's
that?
Hit it.
Jack Morris, Jimmy Key, Steve Carlton, or Tom Seaver?
Wow. Anybody?
Let me go, Lenny.
Okay.
Chronic.
Jimmy Key.
Jimmy Key. Wow. Chronic.
Jimmy Key.
Which one does not belong?
Can you name the 3 teams, Lenny? Name the 3 teams he did it for.
Toronto, the Yankees.
Yep.
And I don't know the other one.
The Royals.
White Sox.
All right. Don't give him the certificate. Don't give him that.
Give it to him. Give him a 1250 certificate. Yeah.
1250.
All right.
That's it.
Safri's going to be upset when you submit the name of the winner again. Mike Lubitz, and once again is Lenny the Chronic. All right, congratulations to the Chronic. Gurgles, you have a great day. Who's your pick in the Masters?
My pick in the Masters is, I'm going a little chalky, Justin Thomas.
I have Thomas as part of my 7-man configuration in the pool.
My long shot is Brian Harmon, the little lefty. Watch out.
Oh, okay. All right. Brian Harmon. Gurgle's pretty sharp golf handicapper. I mean, you're around golf all the time, so you should know. Raymond Floyd, by the way, seemed very gracious when he was being interviewed by Marty Smith yesterday as they were teeing it up for the par 3. They had Raymond Floyd paired up with Gary Player and Tom Watson. Watson even seemed like a decent guy. I never liked Watson after he wanted Casey Martin to have to crawl around the course.
Right.
You know,
he put on a clinic. Watson put on a clinic here in Miami Lakes. And Gary Player I met on my way back from Ireland at Fort Lauderdale Airport, and he asked, "Hey, do you need help with your clubs?" Gary Player is the finest.
Oh, no, super gentleman. Yeah, and he comes across that way, and he's all right, Gurgles, thanks. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. And speaking of Hialeah Park, always very close to the boxing world. And we love having this guy on the show. He's coming up here in just a few seconds. We're going to have our good friend Henry Revolta, an extraordinary reporter here in South Florida. And he's going to join us in just a few minutes here on the Defo Show on Ion Channel. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz, back with Henry Revolta. Talk about a little El Boxeo in just a moment. Now that. It's 8:04. If poker is your game, you're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
Lost that love and feeling, which I marched down the aisle to on 2 occasions. It was one of those, Karen, that was all we had. Yeah, that was all they had. They only had a couple of musical choices, none of which were particularly good.
I feel like that says something if that's all you can walk to the aisle.
You never close your eyes. That part's good. But when the chorus starts and everybody's singing in the audience, you've lost that love and feeling.
There is nothing better than Defo. It's now time for the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show, the Defo Show. It's the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. And as we continue, and this is great because we haven't had a chance to speak with this gentleman on this new platform yet, but always dynamite when it comes to talking boxing and very generous with me. I mean, many fine assignments I've had. The privilege to sit ringside and do blow-by-blow for events that were promoted by our next guest, Henry Rivalta, boxing promoter, joins us here on the program. Henry, how are you, my friend? Thanks so much for joining us.
We need his volume on.
Well, we don't have the audio for Henry Rivalta. I might have to hit that on-off switch on the microphone. That'll work. Pretend you're Jimmy Lennon Jr. The time. That's where we got that from. All right, Henry's going to join us here in just a few seconds. Did you figure that out, Henry? No, we're getting nothing from Henry Rivalta. But anyway, hopefully, well, just keep talking, Henry, and as soon as we get some sound, we'll bring you into the show here. But Henry was always great, as we said. Go back a long way with Henry Rivalta, and this might have been if he, is on record. At least that was the bio. Said he started promoting boxing in 2001. I'm going to say it was. Could it have been that many years ago that he had Luis King Kong Ortiz? And Ortiz was fighting at the Tamiami Fairgrounds. And, they're always telling you that this next guy is going to be the next Cuban sensation. When you had, and a lot of these Cuban fighters that came over and defected and turned pro in America were originally based, and for a long time, many of them stayed in Miami. So we were very familiar with this crowd. And Hialeah Park has done a tremendous job. All right. All right. We have Henry on the phone. We lost the video to try and get the audio because we figured that obviously, you can't do a silent movie on these things. But Henry, are you with us? Henry Rivalta.
Yeah, I'm with you, buddy. Sorry about that.
We'll figure it out next time.
Oh, that's okay. You know what? Those on-off switches are tough. I mean, they really are because you can never find them. But all right, I get a call from Frankie. Hey, can we get our good friend Frank Fiore? Can we get Henry on his show tomorrow? And I'm thinking, wow, something has to be cooking here. So what's going on, Henry Rivalta, in the boxing world in Hialeah Park?
Well, we're doing great things this year, and we're doing something that's really never been done in South Florida, which is working in unity. So I got the privilege of working with Leon Margulies of Warriors Boxing and Lubitz Cuba Sr. And it's been a real fantastic ride. Frank Fiore has facilitated being able to do some great boxing here at Hialeah Park and Casino. I mean, great venue, South Florida. One of the best places I've been to for boxing because of the energy that was in the room on tonight. It just felt great, So putting together the cards, showcasing some of these Cuban talented Olympians that we have and amateur world champions and standouts. And May 7th is none other than one of the best shows that Miami has seen as far as talent is concerned. So, I mean, we hope that everybody comes out and enjoys a great night of boxing because we got it ready for them, that's for sure.
It's really great stuff, too. I mean, especially if the weather cooperates, which, it has many of the times that they've had boxing events there. But, even when we had a little bit of inclement weather, it was still a gas going out to Hialeah Park because of the setting. I mean, they have the ring set up right by the apron from the track. And then the seats go back. So even the guys in the back row seem like they're almost at the blue horizon in Philadelphia, like right on top of the ring. And you know what it's like, Henry. I mean, you're a promoter. Is there anything better than a great boxing atmosphere, and then on top of that, really good fights with a lot of talent in the ring?
I mean, for me, it's bar none. You know what I mean? As far as having good, talented fights, well, evenly matched fights. And, I mean, you're as good as a good matchmaker as well. We got Chico Rivas. He's one of the best out there. And he always puts together very, very, very competitive matches like the ones we got lined up for everyone this 7th of May. But, yeah, I mean, Hialeah is amazing. The feeling on January 28th that we just did, the first show we did together, was absolutely incredible. You know, everybody was talking about the event. I got various calls after the show. Hey, what's the next show, man? We had a great we've done a lot of shows at the casino, which you know at the Hard Rock, but I got to tell you, this is a great, great feel. I had the privilege of having you calling the play-by-play, and maybe we can have you back, man, because you did a fantastic job. And, I mean, like I said, Frank Fiore has really stepped up. I want to thank Mr. Brunetti as well for all the work that they do and allowing us to come in and showcase all this talent here in South Florida. This is going to be great for boxing.
We've seen many, Cuban defectors, and I was referencing. I remember doing a fight with Eddie Kaplan, and you were promoting the card at the Tamiami Fairgrounds. Now, that can't. How far back did that go? Because it was Luis King Kong Ortiz. It was either his first or second fight in the States. And where did you find Smokin' Bert Cooper to oppose him on that one? And I still remember that because everybody was saying, "Wow, this Ortiz is going to be something," and it turned out that they were right.
Yeah, Ortiz has turned out to be very special. He's represented by Jay Jimenez, who's a great friend of mine. He's done a fantastic job with Luis Ortiz, and PBC has done a wonderful job with Luis Ortiz as well. Al Heyman provides a great platform for these guys to step out and to showcase their talent and legend. And yeah, that was a long time ago, man. I'm surprised you remember that. But yeah, we got Bert Cooper. Unfortunately, he was kind of on the way out, but he was still strong, and still put up a good fight. And Ortiz turned out to do bigger and better things, and he's still making some great money, putting on some good fights. He was at the Hard Rock just a little while back ago.
Yes.
Charles Martin, who also belongs to Warriors Boxing, and it was a great fight. Like Charles Martin dropped him, he dropped Charles. It was a back and forth, and then finally he got to stop it. So I guess skills is still on his side, and we always wish him the best. That's for sure.
Yeah, a couple of classics there with Deontay Wilder, and wow, he showed what kind of skills he had. This crop of Cuban boxers, this new sort of group that has come in and turned pro and already has some experience that you're showcasing in these events at Hialeah Park, Henry. And we're talking with boxing promoter Henry Revolta here on the Defo Show. Yeah, I mean, very, very highly touted. And I was going to say, in addition to King Kong Ortiz, I mean, we've had some greats come over. Including, I don't know, would you consider Casamayor the most accomplished or the best of the Cuban defectors? I've often had that conversation with boxing people, and, there are many excellent names that you could toss out there. But this group here that you're promoting right now with Louis and Leon, everybody's saying is sensational.
Oh, no, they're absolutely incredible. And I got to agree with you when you say Casamayor. He was one of the greatest names. Louis de Cuba Sr. did a great job. I mean, like, Louis is like the encyclopedia of boxing, man. I take my hat off. I learned a lot from both those guys. And, like, for me, it's just a privilege to be here working with them. But this new wave is absolutely incredible. On this night, you're going to see a former Olympian heavyweight named Lenier Perot, who's 6-0 with 3 knockouts. And he's going to be facing Hector Perez, who's no slouch. He has a 7-4 record. He was just in a war. Made it real complicated for a heavyweight over in Orlando named Norman Neely, if I'm not mistaken, on a Valley Sports Show. Hialeah Casino, for one thing. I mean, Hialeah is the home of a lot of the Cubans that are here in South Florida. So they got a lot of support. And like I said, for me, it's the perfect fit. I wouldn't want to take it to any other casino except Hialeah Casino, and it's a fantastic event. You're going to see also Anthony White Chocolate Martinez. He's 12-1, and what type of fight he's taking. This will be for the It's a WBO regional belt. I think it's the international or the intercontinental, if I'm not mistaken. And he's going to be fighting David Light, all the way from New Zealand, who's 17-0 and was also part of the national team in New Zealand. So he's got about 170 plus amateur fights. David Light, undefeated as a pro, and our local kid, Anthony White Chocolate Martinez, at 12-1, is going to step up and fight this kid in the co-feature. You're also going to see from Cuba, from Cienfuegos, Orestes Velasquez, who's only 3-0 and was in the fight of the night on January 28th. Fought an undefeated Mexican who was 9-0. Got dropped in the first or second round, if I'm not mistaken, and then came back, knocked the guy's tooth out, stopped the fight. It was like a rock'em sock'em action fight. You would have loved it. I would have loved to have you see that fight. You'd have been talking about it for years to come. It was really, really exciting. And now we're glad to have Orestes back. And he will be facing former world champion, Mexican warrior Juan Carlos Salgado. I mean, Salgado's been in there with the best. Fought with Argeni Mendez twice. And, he's got a record of 28-9. This is a real good step-up fight for Orestes Velasquez, who's only 3-0. So we're expecting some good things in that fight. We also bring back Anis Argelago, who didn't succeed his last outing on January 28th, but he's coming back, and he's coming back against no slouch. He's fighting Frank Gonzalez of KO Fitness. He's trained by Chino and Mike, which are great, fantastic trainers. They got a great squad over there. They represent Aaron Aponte, Luis Melendez, Harold Calderon. They got a good group of guys over there. So this is a really tough crew that's coming in to step up and face Joannis Argelagos again. So we wishing him all the best. But hey, the good thing about our event here, Warriors Boxing and Revolta Boxing at the Hialeah Park Trivia, is that you never get. There's no pick'em fights here. It actually is. You got to say, hey, look, who's going to win? You don't know. Red corner, blue corner, evenly matched bouts. So we're really, really looking forward to these fights. We have also a kid on the card, local kid, JD Martinez, and he's 14-2. He brings the house out. So we're looking forward to see JD. He's fighting against Sergio Castellanos from Argentina. And any time an Argentinian fights, it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a war. Also, Livan Navarro of Havana, Cuba is on the card, and he'll be fighting El Chamaco Silveiro Ortiz from Mexico, who I've had the pleasure of seeing him fight personally. I think we put him against Derek Cuevas one time, and it was a war. So he's 37-29, but don't go by his losses. He doesn't get stopped. He brings it to the fighters, and it's going to be an action-packed, fight. We also have three other Cubans on the card. I'm sorry, that aren't matched at this time, but I'm sure Chico Rivas will have some names for us in the next day or two, which is Isaac Carbonell, a Cuban sensation kid, Ariel De La Torre, really exciting fighter, and from Cienfuegos, Cuba, making his pro debut is a kid who's been talked about here in Miami, Florida. Everybody can't wait to see him fight, including myself. His name is Victor Abreu, and he was tops in Cuba from his province. And we also have Nikolai Schwab on the card from Kazakhstan. And we're looking forward to just bringing great boxing here to South Florida, man. I hope all the fans can come out. They're the real winners. The fans are the real winners. Those who come out, purchase a ticket, come grab your seat, grab your popcorn and your drinks early, because these fights are going to be very, very exciting, my friend.
Always explosive. Any fights on the Henry Revolta promoted card. All right, you were our go-to guy for a lot of boxing conversations. There are a couple of things too I wanted to touch on with you, including speaking of Cuban defectors, and it's an interesting story. I was watching a little piece on Showtime last night, preview leading up to Ugass versus Errol Spence Jr. And I mean, Spence, I thought he might have been the best of the best. A lot of people might say Terrence Crawford, those guys for whatever promotional differences, which is nice to see, local promoters cooperating, trying to put great fights together also in conjunction with each other. Just the opposite when you're talking about the big boys there with Crawford and Spence. But Spence was, supposed to fight Manny Pacquiao, Ugass, who does he still... Does he live in Miami still, Ugass? Because I know he was here. I believe he was here for a part of time. But he stuns the world by not stopping, but beating Manny Pacquiao. And now he's in there against Spence. What kind of shot do you give this guy? I mean, you must have some familiarity with your Danis Ugass, who's going to fight at Cowboy Stadium next Saturday night against Errol Spence Jr.
I mean, Louis the Cubas Jr. has done a fantastic job. PBC out here with your Dennis Ugass, but he has earned every single thing that has been given to him. Okay, every step of the way, he's had to fight undefeated fighters. If you back in his record, they've never given him a slouch. since they signed him. So I'm very happy for Ugass. He's not. I don't think he's in Miami. He might have a place here in Miami. I think he does have a place here in Miami and Doral, but he lives in Las Vegas. And listen, Manny Pacquiao's a legend. What can I say? I took my hat off to Ugass. But you can't count Ugass out only because Errol Spence is that's one of the best PBC has, if not the best fighter. And I do agree with you when you say, a lot of good fights as far as Errol Spence, Crawford. The fans need to see these kind of fights, because we're the ones that push back, we're the ones that keep it going, and the fans want to see the best fight the best. Now Ugass has a fantastic chance in this fight. As a matter of fact, I think he's going to win the fight. It's a very hard fight to say, hey, who's going to win? We're going to see who shows up that night, who has the bigger heart, who has the most courage, who's going to give it their all, who's got the most skill. There's a lot to really, be justified to say who's going to win the fight. But I got to tell you, Ugass has a hell of a chance to win this fight. He's very hungry. He's got something to prove. The kid is a great kid. He leads by example. I got to tell you that. He fights for freedom. They have a saying now in Spanish called patria y vida, because they used to say in Cuba, patria y muerte is basically saying, or my country or death,
Yeah.
But you can't honor that when your country is a communist country, because these kids wake up and by the time they're 8 or 9 years old, 10 years old, they're being told what sport they're going to play. They're being told what they're going to be when they grow up and be older, what's going to be their profession that doesn't pay them a damn dime. And you know what? It's a sad, sad case over there. There's no food for these people. I know a lot of the people over there are eating, rice alone. There's no beans. There's no meat to go along with it. So what kind of a future do these kids have? So when they defect, man, I take my hats off to their courage. And if I could do anything to help any one of them, I'd do it in a drop of a dime, because you know what? It's hard to live that way. We get to wake up and we have God has given us the freedom. God has given us we're just free. I can wake up right now. I can go to Sergio's Cafeteria. I can go to IHOP, have a nice breakfast. I'm headed to the gym right now to see my fighters. Then I'm headed to see a couple of my other fighters. I might take the rest of the day off if I want to. I might go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, I'm free to make my own choices, my own decisions. And these people can't, and that's really, really sad, man. So we got to keep these people not only in our prayers, but we got to keep them in our hearts. We got to support them. Come out to the Hialeah Casino with these young men that have fought, have struggled tooth and nail to the communist regime, to be here in the land of the brave and for freedom. They fight for freedom. They fight for us. They fight for everybody that's out there that has a dream. And so we got to support these guys.
Ugass has a hell of a story. I guess he attempted to defect and come over here 7 or 8 times, and was brought back and incarcerated for a period of time. And then, like on his 9th attempt, he comes over and he's on a boat in the open sea there for like 2 days before he finally, gets into Mexico. And, to achieve what he has after that in boxing, no matter how phenomenal his skills might have been as an amateur in Cuba, I mean, just to endure all of that and then persist and be a pro. I mean, obviously anything he faces in the ring couldn't be anything close to, what he faced, in the actual path of life itself. So, I mean, I don't think you can discount the guy. I think Manny Pacquiao, he was saying in the piece, might have overlooked him a little bit because he was a substitute, and you know how that goes, being a boxing promoter. And how great is it, too? I mean, it's not always great for the promoter when the sub comes in and, puts it on the house fighter. But, that was definitely the case there. So I'd give him a fighting chance, because Spence has been in and out. He had that one fight with Danny Garcia. Yep. I'm not sure Garcia was at the height of his game, but, still a very competitive and professional fighter, dangerous. And but then, he's had 2 different periods now where he's been out of action for a while. So, maybe that also bodes well for Ugass. Henry, best of luck. Yeah, go ahead.
For me personally, I was going to say, when you have a will and a heart like Ugass, you can win the fight. Don't count them out. I put my money on them, and I'm gonna. And as I said, the fans are the ones that have been winning with all these great fights that not only we're putting together here at the Hialeah Casino, but that PBC's putting on, on television worldwide. And hey, we invite everybody to come out May 7th. I think the doors open at 4:30, 5 o'clock. Come on out, enjoy a great night of boxing, enjoy a great night of gambling after the fight. invite you to stick around. Come into the casino. It's a great place. If you don't know it, you should get to know it. And we invite you to come out. Thank you very much for having me, and God bless.
A great American, Henry Revolta. Thanks so much for joining us here on the show. These stories of these Cuban defectors that are in boxing, Lubie.
Oh, it's insane.
It really is something. If you see this, Showtime is running a series. They're doing one of those all-access series, trying to pump up the pay-per-view for the Spence Ugass fight, which will be competitive. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Ugass is a real tough kid, and I can't see him laying down for Errol Spence, and I don't know that Spence has big knockout power anymore, although he can at times overwhelm his opponents. But I think you're going to see a pretty good fight if you're inclined to go ahead and ante up the pay-per-view for that one. Or, like I do, just wait till it comes out on YouTube 2 seconds after the fight. How are they making it with pay-per-views anymore when pretty much, I mean, it used to be a thing, right? You had some method like O.J. Simpson of pirating
does it, yeah,
pay-per-view TV.
Red or something where he gets it for free. I don't know. I haven't done that in forever. The last few years, I just sort of waited to see the results after the fight and watch highlights. I haven't really watched a fight in a long time.
I never got away with anything, like I've been saying, the last few weeks here on the show. The Deforrest never got away with anything. So remember when they had the card where you could get all the, pay premium channels without having to subscribe to one of the Dish networks or whatever it was? This was in the early days of satellite Dish TV. Yeah, the box. Yeah, you had the box and the card and everything. And I had no luck with that, right? I spent more money replacing the card and on this bogus pirated equipment than I would have if I just bought the thing in the first place, right? And paid the regular freight, however much of a ripoff it was deemed to be. No luck with any of that, right? The second I would put a new card in, they would find a way to shut that one down, and you'd have to call the guy again, and you go, oh, yeah, I'll have another one for you tomorrow, right? It was like worse than doing drug deals. It really was. And for what, right? By the time I got done, literally, I had paid more than I would have for like a year's subscription. And I never got to watch a thing because they were constantly cutting the card off. All right, Dave Hyde going to join us. Dave Hyde, the outstanding columnist for the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. He is somewhat universal, and then I would imagine, especially with the sparse, these sports sections, it's unfortunate. Thank goodness. I know, certain people are going to be upset that I keep referring to the New York Post sports section as one of the best in the country, but it is. Because they actually write about stuff that, these people in New York are passionate about, which does that not help generate some of that passion if, you start to understand the stories? Like, I would definitely be more into this Ugass fight now against Errol Spence Jr. and more inclined to maybe even root for Ugass after seeing this arduous plight that he had to go through just to get a chance to practice what turned out to be a profession that he's very good at. All right? I mean, imagine, Lubie, I don't know. I can't see you. 2 hours like in the Florida Straits there. All of a sudden, it's like Holy Diana Naiad. What am I doing here, man? You can't swim to shore from here. What, are you kidding me? And she had like scientists accompanying her and all kinds of things to ward off problems, but couldn't avoid. Imagine that done in by a jellyfish. How many times? That's an ugly fate, isn't it, Lubie? When your dreams are dashed by a jellyfish, how many people can really say that?
Not many.
You? No?
There's a reason. No. We don't want that.
All right, Dave Hyde coming up in just a few minutes here on the program as we celebrate a Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. I knew it when I saw Frankie had called. I was kind of out of it yesterday and couldn't find my phone or whatever, but which is a very convenient excuse. No, I saw that he called a few hours later, and I'm thinking, okay. I listened to the message, and he says, yeah, can we get Henry on the show? I'm like, okay, good, man. That means boxing in Hialeah Park. And that's going to be great. So I didn't realize that they had combined forces also. That's very nice. Cooperation among local promoters. How great is that?
You don't see that a lot.
Well, Louis DeCubis and Leon Margulies are real class gentlemen, and so is Henry. So, and Henry's one of those promoters that if you work for him, it's cash on the barrel, right? I mean, you're getting paid that night. Not like one of those deals, and I've had a few of these in my I guess you could call it a career doing blow-by-blow on boxing matches, which span many, many years. And every now and then it's like, what do you mean the promoter left? When did he leave? He didn't pay anybody. What? He's on a plane? Yeah. So, there are, times where, and musicians will tell you this too, right? Where all of a sudden the bar owner has disappeared. Oh, Louis? No, I think he's in the back. When it's time to pay the check. All right, we're coming back with Dave Hyde here on the Defo Show. Tomorrow, a Degenerate Friday. Going to be another spectacular. The professor will be with us. Mark Lawrence taking a little time off, heading into the football season. And maybe we can dig him up from time to time, Mark Lawrence, and handicap some of the big events that are taking place. And, of course, we'll have the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, who I have to respect Mayo on this one. Lubie, I really do. Even though we've been taking some liberties with his good name, Mike Mayo. And he's a really good guy. I mean, at heart, Mike Mayo, what would you say? A real mensch of a guy, right?
Oh, yeah. He's a great dude. He just is a little sour on the Panthers. That's the only problem.
And it's understandable, right? I mean, he got called out by this Doug Sifu character, who's like the CEO of the Panthers, the chief executive schmank, or whatever it is. And I don't know. Did Sifu seem a little arrogant to you? What do you think, Lubie? Did he strike you that way? I mean, he was on a couple of shows with us over the years, and he talks a good game. And I don't know. Maybe he's a great guy. It's possible. You know who's friends with him? Brett Tester, the agent of the Stars. Says Sifu is like one of the greatest guys that he's ever come across in his life. You ask Mayo about the very same guy, and he has nothing but mush to say about this man. So that bitterness, though, I mean, he encountered that when Sifu personally attacked him on Twitter, which is why I stay off of Twitter, Lubie, and I'm represented by a council of people.
I'm aware.
Whenever we make any comments, yes, that council being you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not really Defo, is it? No, it's Lubie masquerading as Deforrest. Yeah. We don't often share the same opinion, especially when it comes to sports. So, although, you do have some old school elements to you, which I greatly respect. But I respect Mayo for making this bet because he's betting into a proposition where he probably should be getting odds, no? What do you think?
Yeah, because they are the number one seed. They should win. Like they should
win, but in hockey, that's less of a consideration than it is in basketball. Although basketball this year, everybody wants to dodge the Brooklyn Nets. And if you saw Kevin Durant last night with a triple-double of extraordinary proportions, and wow, they came out of the grave and beat the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden with Kevin Durant having like 35 points, and I think he had 11 rebounds, 10 assists, something like that. Might have been juxtaposed. But, who wants to go against that guy? Do you? If you're the Miami Heat, you want to face Durant in a best-of-7 with Kyrie Irving on his game and a couple of the other Nets rising to the occasion last night. Patty Mills, man, that guy can shoot if he gets rolling. Patty Mills, yeah, the Australian, man. It's hard to believe he's Australian, isn't it? You see Patty Mills, you're not thinking Australia, but, you're thinking like somebody that's going to look like Rod Laver. But sure enough, he's out there and chucking threes like no tomorrow. Great efficiency. All right, coming back with Dave Hyde here on the program. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Woo, what a great place that would be to take in the Masters, huh? It kind of fits the mood a little bit, doesn't it? Here's Tiger for par. How many times will you hear that? You'll probably be hearing, you're thinking you're going to be hearing, here's Tiger for bogey. Here's Tiger for double. Oh, it's a shame. His ball has caught a tuft of wind and blown itself slightly offline. Do they have any British guys doing the Masters? No, right? It's all just Nance the whole time. You with me there, Lubie? I think you locked out.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm doing a million things. It's usually Faldo with Nance, from what I remember. I don't know who's with him these days. I always liked Faldo on the cover.
Faldo's good. Yeah, no, Faldo's a good guy. Real good guy. Friends with the Duke. And
we don't talk. Actually, as much as we lament color animals, because I don't watch a lot of golf, I don't mind Faldo. Now that I think,
Faldo's good. No, he's very good. Yeah,
he's out of the way. He does it. He knows what I was talking about. He's not annoying. He actually adds stuff because he's won. He's not. Yeah. Curtis Strange gets on my nerves a little bit. And the Miller,
Faraday would be the guy that you want to have on the Masters out there. But they can't. You talk about people that can't take a joke. That would be the Masters committee, as witnessed and evidenced by the fact that Gary McCord has been banned there and never been back since he referred to, I think it was like the 17th green, as if it might have been another hole, but he said, it's as fast as if it had been like covered with bikini wax. And that drove these people out of their minds. It was like, oh, no, we can't have this guy. They banned him for life, man. Practically burned him at the cross. Incredible, which, might be something that they would be in favor of. They're at least going back a few days at Augusta National. All right, we don't want to make any assertions around, accusations of that nature, but we do want to talk to Dave Hyde. That's coming up in just a second. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill be a place to take it in. Unbelievable. The atmosphere there. I mean, wow. Lubie, did we have the greatest time of our lives? That was one of my favorite weekends I've spent in my lifetime.
I was blessed. It was a really good time.
Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Really a great place. I mean, the lodging, jimmyjohnsonsbigchill.com. The food, dynamite. Dominic and Jimmy in the kitchen. Amanda, his lovely wife, really does a terrific job because it's kind of a sprawling enterprise there. I mean, they have different locations. You have inside seating if you want it. You have the sports bar. Then you have a set of tables there that are kind of under a canopy. Then you have the tiki bar, and you got people by the pool. Somehow they all get served in a very efficient fashion. This isn't like a Keys mentality when it comes to that. Waiter. No, none of that, right? I mean, they're right on top of it, which is great. So well-run place and just great food. Real innovative stuff. I mean, stuff you won't find anywhere else in the Keys, but stuff you would like to find anywhere that you go to dine. It's just absolutely fantastic. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. If you're heading to the Keys, mile marker 104, that's the overseas highway, just as soon as you get out of the drudgery of Florida City, right? And then you drive that little stretch of no man's land, and the next thing you know, bingo, you're in Key Largo, and there it is. Just on the right side if you're heading south. And, of course, if you're coming back from another destination and you're thinking, I'd like to get something before we really hit the road there, grind it out back to Fort Lauderdale or Palm Beach or wherever you're headed to. Or if you're in from out of the state, just make plans to be at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, right there on the overseas highway. All right, coming back with Dave Hyde in a moment. Talk a little bit about, what's been just a magnificent South Florida sports scene that nobody seems to be grasping a hold of.
The Dolphins, people are excited about, and the Heat. The Panthers, I actually did a test because whenever we do anything Heat or Dolphins, it does really well on 5 reasons. And I get the Panthers. A lot of people have the Mayo strategy or idea. They haven't won.
That's a terrible thing to believe, isn't it? Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, what kind of chump attitude is that? You're never going to make it with that.
Year. Like they've won all year. So I posted Monday, Tuesday on the Panthers for 5 reasons because they're playing really well and they had 2 exciting games between Saturday and then Tuesday. So, and they've just been playing really well. We had Randy Moeller on, so I made that 5 reasons, and I was like, all right, this is.
And people love Moeller. I mean, he has a cult following from all of those calls. Yeah.
Well, they haven't caught on.
0 views
because our Dolphins John and Jemmy from yesterday is hitting out of the friggin' park, and I love John and Jemmy, but Moeller's a pretty big deal. And it was a freaking dud. So that tells you.
Amazing, man.
The Dolphins Heat are king right now, and the Panthers are trying. Hopefully they can do some playoff success and get into that ring.
It's crazy, right? I mean, it's true. The only ice that people of South Florida know about is at the bottom of a glass.
Exactly.
That's it, right? Another martini. Yeah, I think I'll have one more, Joe. Okay? Just one more. No, I can drive. That's it. I mean, forget about it. And most people, I don't know. See, the attitude that, wow, it hasn't happened before, so there's no way it can happen now. I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, there's some, foundation, I guess, of truth to that. All of this trend handicapping is based on that principle. But, I mean, you can't watch a team like this and believe that they're actually going to lose a first-round playoff series this year, the way they've played all season long. You just can't. We'll get the opinion of Dave Hyde. That's coming up in just a few minutes here on Ion Channel. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz, back with more in a moment. Now that. Degenerate Friday ought to be fun tomorrow also. Looking forward to that. It's 8:39.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And
The insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
You almost think about sending sympathy cards to your friends in the media that had to attend that game, which I have the good fortune of not having to shut down any Dolphin games. But we've been equating it with the the saga of Terry Schiavo, which you'll remember, Dave Hyde, where the family was begging Jeb Bush forever to let them pull the plug on this poor woman who had been in a coma for like 2 decades. And that's kind of what watching that game was like. I don't know. Were you forced to attend that in your duties with Sun Sentinel, or as a columnist with pretty much free choice over what material you're going to put in the newspaper and make your contribution? Did you find something out of town, perhaps, to cover that day?
I did go to the game, and the lead of my
God.
column was quick. What's the phone number of searchers who are studying brain damage from the NFL?
That Nowitzki guy, you got him on hold. I mean, that's great.
I want to donate my brain because it's been damaged. It's been damaged from the last couple of days.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show, the Defo Show here on Ion Channel, a Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge Day. And we thank Dave Gergely for joining us earlier and conducting the challenge. And very exciting things happening at Hialeah Park, as you heard from Henry Revolta. And no wonder they're opening the doors at 4:30. He named off like 20 fighters that were on the card. So even if they just fought each other, you're still looking at 10 bouts. So you're going to have to get there early. That's coming up on May the 7th. Very excited about that. Always excited to have this man here on the program, the preeminent, with apologies to Greg Cody, preeminent and Eddie Pope, may he rest in peace, columnist to hit the South Florida journalistic scene, possibly in the history of South Florida newspaper journalism. The great Dave Hyde joins us here on the program. David, how are you, my friend?
I'm glad I come on your show to get that ego rush. And Cody and Pope, obviously, don't come on the show because so that's good to hear. I'm well. Busy.
Yeah, we haven't heard from Cody. He abandoned us when he made it big. I mean, back in the day, you'd get a call from Cody every now and then. Hey, Dave, you got any cable TV shows I could appear on? I really need the 300. But now, not a word. Now that he can help us out, not a word. Unbelievable, Dave. How does that work? I mean, is that what life is really all about?
I won't forget you when I'm at the top, Defo. I will not forget you.
That's appreciated, Mr. Hyde. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Now, speaking of where you're at, I mean, how are you not at Augusta National? Is not every reporter obligated to go and write some kind of homage to Tiger Woods today?
Yeah, boy, what a story he would be if he can actually somewhere get on the leaderboard in the first couple of days. And
well, he's going to be on a leaderboard. They're going to have his name on a leaderboard, even though he hasn't teed off yet.
They'll find him.
It'll be Tiger Woods, even, and even if a guy's like 12 under through 6.
Tiger Woods 12 over, but he's there.
Still be on the board. Yeah, no, he'll be on the board. That's for sure. And in a little corner box on the screen at all times, even if he's just passing gas.
Yeah. I loved covering the Masters. We don't travel like we once did, thank God. I actually have a life, but I would go from the Final Four to the Masters a lot of years, and the Masters was a lot of fun to cover. It was, stepping back in time and day deadlines, which matter in my work, and interesting lots and great history, and once in a while a story like this, where a Jack Nicklaus is contending at the end of his career, or I went there in '86. That was before me, but he did get on the leaderboard in later years too. So it'd be an incredible scene if he's actually in the middle of all this.
There's always one of the old geezer golfers that is prominent for a round or two, right? Usually it's our man Freddie Couples at 62, but the bad back somehow always catches up with him. Very smooth stroke out there, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely a charm to this tournament that I don't think exists even close. I mean, it really is a tradition like no other when it comes to the game of golf. And you can't help, no matter where you're living, but look at the beautiful scenes there, which are mostly, the case where the sun is shining and the azaleas are blooming. And then, I was really depressed to find out that they piped in the bird noise. And that maybe none of this was real, but it looks fantastic. It's very inspiring. It makes you want to go out and paint a picture, do some kind of oil painting while you're sitting on the beach by yourself. It's fantastic in terms of inspiration.
Yeah, it's like that movie Truman's World with Jim Carrey. It's a little fake. When you walk in, if you walk in with a soda, Coke or Pepsi, they take it and they pour it into a green Master's cup, and that's what you walk in. You're not allowed to walk in with anything that really anything from the modern world, and then that includes dollar bills, because at the concession stand, sandwiches. Now I don't know if they've gone up in the last. When I was since I've been there, but it was like tomato and cheese for $1, a soda for $1. It was the last place in the world. Now the hard part is getting the ticket. It's the hardest ticket in sport to get. But once you're in the ground, it's pretty neat.
Obviously, Hal Steinbrenner is not running the concessions at Augusta National. If you can get a soda for $1, that would be like $14 at Yankee Stadium. That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, the sanctimony of the whole thing is great. I guess there are other elements there that really, weren't necessarily particularly flattering, when you were talking about the event. But still, I mean, I dig every minute of it. I really do. I'll be riveted to the thing. We have action on the Masters, which is fantastic now. And I don't know that I'll get involved in any in-game prop bets, but there'll be certain putts. Let's face it, that I'll be praying that various people miss by several feet, including if Sergio's on the board, I'm going to be very, very upset. Anyway, that thing's a lot of fun. But what's even more fun, it's impossible to sell, Dave Hyde. We've been trying to do this. Lubie just gave me the distressing news that the numerology on our conversation about the Florida Panthers with one of the most popular guys in South Florida. And he's on the broadcast, for God's sake. Red Deer Randy Moeller, been with the team forever. Great guy, well known for his pop culture references when he was doing the radio calls. People started listening to the games on the radio, which I would imagine is a fairly scant audience these days. And he pops it up on Skolnick's thing, Scoop Skolnick's deal, 5 Reasons. And the numbers of interested viewers and listeners, I mean, just dropped to near zero because the subject was hockey. So why is South Florida just absolutely, dead to what seems to be a great story, including our buddy Mike Mayo, who believes they won't get out of the first round?
No, he doesn't. No,
I'm glad Mayo.
You want to come to the dinner? Do you want to come to the dinner? He's buying dinner at Runway 84 if they win a first-round series.
Because he's been really confident in hockey.
They got a tough question if we're getting into hardcore hockey talk. He's doing up a lot of goals, and do they bring the kid in or what? That's going to be a decision if Bobrovsky starts slow the playoffs. But to answer your question, we're kind of bandwagon jumpers, and I have no problem with that.
Well, you're used to writing about it, for sure.
Just leaving the gate as the playoffs start. If they make a playoff run, all of a sudden we'll be the greatest hockey town in the world for about 2 months. If they make a run, and if they make a run, it'll carry into next year. And if they make a run next year, it'll bigger. And that's how it works. You don't go 25 years, a quarter century. Actually, it might be 26 years this year without winning a playoff series, much less making the playoffs here and there.
Very infrequently, yes.
Everybody to stay aboard. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So, but this is, if you are interested in hockey or just curious, this is a crazy team. This is the highest scoring team in the history of hockey. I mean, it is a fun team to watch. It is, to compare it to the big three, the Heat is a little much because they had the marketing power of LeBron and Wade and Bosh and Riley, etc. But as far as watching the game play and I mean, the game the other night where they came back from 5-1 to win in overtime was, it's a show. It's just not South Florida's popular show just yet. But if they make a run in the playoffs, it will be.
Well, and to your point, and maybe to Mayo's benefit here, because the bet is if the Panthers win a playoff series, and he's buying dinner for Lubie and me, and we thought it was anybody that we invited at Anthony's Runway 84, a fairly pricey joint, although well worth the money, and certainly a great place to go dining. And everybody loves the place. And if they lose in the first round, then Lubie and I have to ante up a dinner for Mayo, and none of his guests. So I mean, we're not only getting a good price on this thing, but I think we have great value, because it just seems like, Dave, do you get this feeling sometimes you're covering teams? I mean, I know Tampa Bay was like the number 1 seed, and or I guess they were, a high, favorite to win the Stanley Cup a couple of years ago before they won the 2 in a row, and they got swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets and the very same Sergei Bobrovsky, who stood on his head in that playoff series, and they swept them out of the playoffs. So it is possible that the best team could lose to the worst. We've seen it in the NHL before, but. It is a little weird that they carried Bobrovsky out, and not even a coach coming to lift him or just giving him a signal. Security actually escorted him off the ice in this last game. So his vulnerability at a critical time. I mean, all of a sudden, I mean, are we going to be picking up a check? That would be a horrible consideration that we would have to pick up a check for Mayo just because he's a cynic and has a beef with Doug Sifu.
What if they alternate goalies? Bobrovsky starts, and if he's hot, he stays. And if not, about 12-minute mark or middle of the second period, Nate comes in, and they do that all through the play. What if the Panthers start a new trend, sort of like the baseball trend of starting pitcher?
Doesn't work, right?
A relief goalie. What do you think?
Steve Spurrier would have to be coaching. I mean, that never works, right? That's the old cliche, right? Where if you have a quarterback controversy and 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback, right? Is the problem. So I don't know that you can do that in the playoffs, because you really need one guy to get hot in the playoffs. So many times we've seen it. It's one of the great storylines in following the NHL, which a lot of people would agree. I don't know how you weigh in on this, Dave, but it definitely is the most physically difficult championship to win in all of sports. I believe that to be true, because I mean, the bloodbath that the NHL playoffs are, from the opening game of the opening series all the way through. I mean, you win a Stanley Cup, you have definitely put in just a monumental effort. So I'm thinking that the way this team has played all year, though, it just bodes well for them. To kind of at least grind one out, even if Bobrovsky has returned to having some kind of glaucoma in one eye.
It would be a staggering disappointment if they go out.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, staggering. And I'm glad you pegged Mayo down on on a restaurant, because with his connections now in the food industry, he would find a way to get a free meal and get out of it. So I'm glad that you pegged him down on that. That's very good of you.
And we took a deposition with Anthony Bruno, the owner of the place, and he guaranteed on the record that whoever lost the bet was actually going to pay.
Who's going to go deeper? But this is an amazing time.
Yes.
Right now in South Florida sports, the Heat are the number 1 seed. Mm-hmm. The Panthers are the number 1 seed, I believe. I haven't looked at all the standings today, but I assume I woke up
right
and
now.
Still the same.
They're almost running in the NHL.
And who's going to go further? Who's going further? What do you think?
That's a great question, because
down in 2 months.
It'd be wonderful. We took over for Boston for years.
We end up winning a couple of titles. I don't see that. We'll be lucky if one of the teams goes all the way. I believe that to be true. No, really. I mean, look, you're lucky. I mean, it's not easy to accomplish. But with the Heat now, the Heat, as a number 1 seed, they would be, as of today, I guess, theoretically, you have the play-in games. And then 8 has to play, one of those teams. But you do have the possibility of facing the Nets in the first round. And what I was looking at, also a very real possibility of facing like the Bucks in the second round. The way that it was, I mean, they're so tight there, and there's still a lot to be decided in the last few games. If you were thinking about a pennant race in the NBA, you couldn't ask for more of a scramble here than you're going to get in the last 3-4 games of the NBA season.
Yeah, we're back to the same old stuff as last year with the Heat. Can they get by the Bucks? And the Bucks got Lopez back, which was especially in a matchup with the Heat, huge because he's a mountain in the middle, and that's the Heat's. They don't have big guys, so that he was most of the year with a back injury, back surgery, and now he's playing. And so yeah, it's amazing both teams are the number one seed. The Panthers have. The NBA is so discounted the regular season. Guys not playing. With the Heat, the question is, okay, who are they going to trust in the playoffs? And they're tipping their hand now, obviously. Bruce is playing, but Duncan Robinson had a big night the other night. One thing Fulcher's great at is figuring out on that night who was playing well and who right in that guy. But I would guess the Panthers will go deep in the playoffs. If you put a slap shot to my head, I would do that.
Well, and that's the thing is, and you alluded to it, and that's one of the big reasons I wanted to have you again, the one and only Dave Hyde, longtime sports columnist for Sun Sentinel. He's national. He does a lot of different things. Follow him, hit him up on Twitter at Dave Hyde Sports. Also, he's great on Facebook as well. He's everywhere. The one and only Dave Hyde. It's funny because we had you on, I think it was last year, literally, and you had the Panthers who were interesting and lost. You had the Heat who had come off a finals run and got swept. You had the Marlins who came off the playoffs and then were horrendous. And then you had the Dolphins with Brian Flores playing defense, but starting out 1-7. And we were like, okay, how depressing is this town? So to me, it's sort of cool that literally not even a year later, it's a total juxtaposition. The Marlins have been smart, and who knows what they'll do because their division's ridiculous, but this should be fun, and they have a great rotation. The Dolphins were smart and aggressive in free agency, which I don't think I've ever seen them do in my entire life. And now you have the Heat and the Panthers, both number one seeds. For you, whereas you were depressed and the clip I played was you being depressed about the Dolphins, it feels like right now you can pick your joy because everything's pretty cool. I wanted to talk about the Dolphins specifically because they've been lagging of all those teams recently. What are your thoughts about what they've done in this offseason, Mike McDaniel and then Tyreek Hill? Because we haven't talked to you since they've done all that.
Yeah, you look what they did, the money they spent, and I was out there yesterday when Xavier Howard and Emmanuel Ogba talked, and everybody's happy. It's team happy right now. Everybody got paid, and I like their off season. You look at his roster right now; it is the best roster the Dolphins have had since Dave Wanstead, and when he had 2 Pro Bowl cornerbacks or 2 All-Pro cornerbacks and 2 Hall of Famers, assuming Zach gets in on defense, and Ricky Williams and a pretty good offensive line. So what did they do? They won 1 playoff game.
Yeah.
So the question to me isn't did they have a good offseason? They really did. I mean, you go down the list of check. They check all the boxes that you want them to do. And they surprise you with Tyreek Hill. I mean, so they're a much better team. They answered all their offense. Now, where do they stack up in the AFC? The AFC is just a murderer's row of teams right now, and Vegas has the Dolphins, even after all this, 10th in the AFC. I mean, it's staggering. And so, I mean, the defense has to get better, and you'd think it would with the young players they have, and bringing back the same Flores system run by defensive coordinator Josh Boyer. Look, there's an incredible amount of pressure, and no one's talking about this yet on Mike McDaniel. Mm-hmm. First-year coach. Usually, first-year coach gets a little bit of a little bit of a learning curve, but there will be none here because he's going to have to hit the ground running and redo this offense and there are a lot of questions. If I'm Steve Ross, I'm saying, okay, you guys wanted this, I gave you this. You want 3 years to tank? and rebuild, I gave you that. You wanted millions and millions of dollars to buy players, I gave you that. At some point, Chris and has to be on the hook for what's going on. The other people in management there. I mean, it's and I want some results if I'm Steve Ross.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no doubt. But while you were out there, did you see Chris Greer? We've been asking. Is there an all points bulletin on this guy? He's making all these dynamic moves. You would normally see the GM front and center saying, "Well, we're very proud of the fact that we're able to sign this kid." And nothing. I mean, and this was the same guy that was making presumably.
He showed up at Indianapolis. He had a press conference there, and he did
Did he say anything?
Clips. No one put any clips out anywhere.
I haven't seen a quote. I mean, have you quoted him in a column, Chris Greer? I mean, what has this man said? Nothing.
Thank God.
It's amazing.
I didn't go to Indianapolis. So thank God I didn't have to. So.
Yeah, well, you missed out on a shrimp cocktail at St. Elmo.
Pressure's on him, but you know.
All right.
We all know what it comes down to, don't we? Tua, right? All this building, all this spending, all this. You know, they have a word right now, hope. You know, and that's a good word for them. But it comes down to is Tua the guy they think he was when they drafted him, and they're going to find out this year.
All right. Let's hope he isn't the guy that a lot of people think he is, and that is mediocre at best. You know, and I think he'll have to excel. The people they acquired, you know, on the offensive side would seem to really suit what skills Tua has, what he does well. I mean, and that's the thing in coaching. You have to, you know, say, hey, what does this guy do well? Let's accentuate that instead of screaming at him about the things that he doesn't do, you know, particularly sharply. And, you know, that's the mark of a good coach. So we'll see if McDaniel is that. All right. And I've thought this forever, and I think you are on the opposite side, and I've seen evidence of both. But in sports talk, we always thought failure and misery what was the key to success. But the more your teams stunk, the better the participation would be in the interest in the shows. That misery was really the thing that drove, especially the very indifferent South Florida bandwagon jumping audience. But you have experienced just the opposite. So this must be a euphoric time for you as a columnist, Dave Hyde, because there is, and in actuality, I've seen this at different times, much more interest when teams are doing well. So I don't know. I mean, this has to be a great time for you. As Lubie alluded to, the Dolphins look like they're making intelligent moves at the very least. Panthers and Heat, both number one seeds. And I don't know how the Marlins are going to do this year. It seems like they're always in tough, and I'm not sure that they made any giant strides forward. But the number in Vegas, at least, is optimistic at 75, so they think they might be somewhere maybe in the neighborhood of 500. So what do you think? Is it better to have teams that absolutely lay an egg every year or contend for championships in terms of being a writer here in town?
It's not even a question. I mean, are you kidding me? In Boston, radio ratings are 15, 16 because they got championship teams. The Patriots, they got go down the list. They all of them have won titles in the last 10 years and sometimes multiple titles. Here, radio ratings are 1, right? I mean, it's the same with newspapers. And our best times in selling newspapers, and people say, "Oh, negative news sells." No, it doesn't. That's absurd. The things that sell in my world is when the Marlins win the World Series, when the Heat win the title, when the Canes are a dynasty, and in the last 20 years, we've had very little of that. The Heat have been the only franchise that have done anything. And so, are you kidding me? Would anybody want to read about the 1-15 Dolphins as opposed to the?
I would, yeah.
That's what I tried to say.
I love that stuff. Yeah. John McKay was great when the Bucks went unvictorious. Yeah.
The best thing for our business is when you have a great team, you know, contending. Maybe it's won a title, maybe it's back to win another title, and there's controversy on the team, or there's some mix in the team, right? I mean, that's it. Is there's interest. There's no interest on a bad team when we're writing, "Oh, the GM screwed it up," you know. Okay, for the 20th straight year. I mean, No. Give me excellence. I'd much rather cover excellence and talk about excellence with because there's so many. It's just like this hockey thing. Nobody cares about the goalie controversy down here, or if there is one. But if this was Toronto or someplace like that, that would be the talk story in sports right now. So there's so many subjects we cannot talk about because nobody cares about them.
Hour and a half away, Dave Hyde, from the moment all sports fans have been waiting for. Tiger will be teeing it up with my man Louis Oosthuizen and Joaquin Neiman at the Masters coming up in about an hour and a hook. Dave, always a pleasure, my friend. Always great stuff. We thank you so much. So you're not inclined to take a call from Mitch from Miramar, who says that everybody sucks. That would not necessarily make your day.
I would call, but because you got to take the calls for the last 20 years of we suck, right? And
that's it. I mean, it's been the same old song, so it's nice to have something different out there. Right? All right, Dave, always a pleasure, my friend. Dave Hyde, Sun Sentinel, South Florida Sun Sentinel. People can find your work online. I don't even want to repeat. I'm ashamed of the fact I haven't ended up to 99 cents for the 6-month subscription, but it'd be well worth it if you people did.
Before you let me go, one other thing. I'm doing a book with Jimmy Johnson called Swagger.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, where's that at?
What's going on with this? Like, we're super excited.
Yeah, if you're not going to pony up for the Sun Sentinel, pony up for that, you cheap bastard.
How close to completion is it?
What's going on with this book? Yeah, you finished it.
There we go. Yeah. So what do you want me to finish?
What's going on?
Yeah. I mean, how close is it to being published? This thing.
It's written. I'm right now going back and forth on editing of the book, and Jimmy was incredible to work with, as you'd expect. Nobody has done retirement better than Jimmy, and we talk about it all. I mean, he's very open about for the Dolphins years. He's talks about Jerry Jones's relationship and with stories he has, people don't know about, obviously, and the Canes. So it's really the Jimmy and Pat Riley are the two most fascinating people I've covered, and just because of the depth and intelligence of the way they go about building organizations and dealing with people, and so to sit for hours and talk to Jimmy about this and do a book with him has been it's been a real fun time.
Well, you spent a lot more time with him than we did, although, I covered many Jimmy Johnson events over the years. But we sat down with him for about an hour, I want to say, maybe 9 months ago at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. And I did notice this, that the mere mention of the name Barry Switzer flipped a different kind of switch with Jimmy. I mean, and he kept coming back to this thing. Maybe he never got over the fact that Switzer was the guy. I mean, that Jerry Jones threw this in his face with Switzer. And even Switzer, the team was so great. Switzer won a Super Bowl. But I think that, is like a Niagara Falls type of term, Barry Switzer, where slowly he turns step by step.
Jimmy took over a train that was run down. They had built it up, got it running, put it on the rails, going 100 miles an hour down the rails, and then Barry took the steering wheel and didn't wreck it. And that's how you win that's how he won a Super Bowl. Where the hard work. Jerry Jones says one of 500 coaches could win a Super Bowl with that team. Well, yeah, but the hard part's building the team.
Sure.
That team
they were dog meat.
Honestly.
Yeah, so we get into all that.
He traded Herschel Walker, for God's sake. Nobody would have ever considered doing that. Are you kidding me? That'd have been like trading Marino. Unbelievable.
He was actually
all right.
Dallas, and him and Herschel spoke it together. He saw him for the first time since the trade.
Oh, that's funny.
That was so. But yeah, I mean, some of the Jerry thought anybody could. He was dismissive of success, basically.
Yeah, which he's had so much of it since.
The amazing thing in this market. Think about this. The Cowboys and the Dolphins, since Jimmy's players left, since the Aikman and the Cowboys and the Dolphins, the last 25 years have won the same number of playoff games.
That's funny.
1. Yeah.
2.
Nice.
Isn't that crazy?
2. Oh, yeah.
That tells you how awful the Cowboys have been.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference is the Cowboys have been, a cut above mediocre. They like last year. Oh, they look like they have a pretty good team, but then they go flat in the playoffs.
Exciting.
Not many people will be documenting the Dave Campo era. Dave Hyde of Cowboy football.
There's a lot of that, though.
And that was a Jimmy Disciple also. All right, David, we have to run. Thanks so much, man. The Jimmy Johnson book. We look forward to it. We love Jimmy. I mean, he's fascinating. You're absolutely right. And it had to be a blast to work together with him on this project. So looking very much forward to that, combined with your outstanding award-winning writing. It has to be a major hit. Thanks so much for being with us here on the show. It's always a pleasure, my friend.
All right, Defo, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Hyde, man.
Thanks a lot. I forgot about the Jimmy Johnson book, right? He mentioned that last time he was on the show.
Yep.
Dave Hyde. That's going to be a blast. All right, we had a lot of fun being with you today. We'll have a Degenerate Friday tomorrow. We'll feature the professor and the big board, Mike Mayo, the gambling gourmet, who had the guts to take on what I thought was an impossible bet. But now everybody, you know how the experts almost tried to convince me that Villanova was going to be okay against Kansas, which was a blowout, my friend, from the start.
Yeah,
blowout.
get scared.
All right, we were right about that, and we had a series of experts on the show, people that I have great respect for their opinion. They all said, "No, you're crazy, Deforrest." But you have to kind of stick to it. So I'll give Mayo credit for sticking to his negativity. And we'll talk with him. I don't know. It's kind of like Charles Bronson in Death Wish, this guy, when it comes to sports.
He just holds tight to it. He's like, dude.
And he's nasty about it, too. He's like, yeah, let's see him do it. Yeah. All right. Okay, Lou. All right, we'll see you tomorrow with a Degenerate Friday. Thanks to everybody here, Ion Channel. Google the Defo Show. You can find the archives of all the shows. Our Believe podcast on the BLEAV network has been really spectacular of late in terms of the people we've had on the program, so you'll enjoy that. You can catch us also on 5 Reasons Sports Network with, I would image we have this Dave Hyde segment up there today. Not happy to learn that the Panthers draw 0 interest, although it comes as no surprise, which is really something. Doesn't Goldie has his own podcast on there?
Goldie does a thing with them, which is really cool. I'm really happy that we're in some form partner with Goldie once again. Sort of got us rolling here, so I appreciate that. They just have to win. Go win, Panthers, and you'll make us good. You'll make Mike Mayo look like an ass, and South Florida will be right behind.
There's the key right there. Make Mike Mayo look like an ass. That all of this show, 2 hours and change.
My dream.
And the conclusion is to make Mike Mayo look like an ass is our goal. No, we love you, Mike. We really do.
Happy birthday, Andy.
Right. Happy birthday, Andy. Nice job. And he didn't make it into the finals, though. The Chronic and Ron just swept right in there. Thanks, too, to Henry Revolta for joining us. He's great on boxing, man. He ran down on a lot of fighters on that card at Hialeah. That's going to be something. He kept thinking of more. It was great.
I know.
Right? It was like, yeah, we got this guy. We got that
How
guy.
long is this card?
It's going to, these Don King cards. So when I used to cover, a lot of boxing out in Las Vegas and it'd be a Don King card. They would literally start at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
And it'd be nobody in the arena, and you're watching like a world title fight. And literally, there'd be 3 guys in the arena besides me. The whole MGM Grand was empty. They didn't even have officials yet in position. The card was already started, man. And nobody came in until it's Vegas. So you think they're coming in there at like 4 in the afternoon? Get out of here.
No.
Haven't even woken up yet. All right, we'll see you tomorrow at 7 in the a.m. Degenerate Friday coming up tomorrow here on Ion Channel. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff Deforrest. Thanks for tuning us in. We'll see you next time as we leave you now that.
The time.
9:14.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.